Okay, guys. Now how's the audio? Hello. All right. Sorry about that. I restarted my live stream because apparently the audio sucked, but hopefully it should be okay. Hopefully. If not, I don't know what's wrong. I am a complete boomer with tech. I am redeemed boomer, okay, guys? I'm redeemed boomer, so I'm not going to be helpful with technology, and I'm not going to be helpful to myself with technology either. But a bit better than before. Okay, yay, it's better, finally. So for those of you just getting here, I'm going to now explain what today's video is going to be about. So I'm going to give my thoughts on whatever, famous pastor or YouTuber or online Christian influencer you want. So I have a list of people from every denomination I want to talk about. Really, I'm going to give a list of my favorite pastors or other YouTube influencers from each Christian denomination, each major denomination. But you can ask me about whoever you want. If you give a super chat, I'm obliged to answer it. And you can also give a super chat about whatever question you want. But generally, today we're going to be talking about my thoughts on various, pastors, online teachers, whatever you want. So I don't want any of these reviews to be entirely positive or negative, because if any of them are entirely positive, it seems like I'm just glazing. If any of them are entirely negative, that doesn't really build up the body of Christ very well. If there is someone who I have 100% negative feelings about, I probably won't talk about them unless you guys explicitly ask. But yeah. So first, obviously, we're going to start with the Presbyterians. So I don't think he's technically an ordained minister of Word and Sacrament, but he is a teacher in the PCUSA, and he's been doing so for like 50 years. And his name is Bruce Gore. Bruce Gore is the best Presbyterian on YouTube. Best Presbyterian on YouTube is not me. It's also not anyone that is my age at all. The best Presbyterian on YouTube is Bruce Gore, I think. I cannot recommend Bruce Gore highly enough. So here's why. Here's the good things about Bruce Gore, first of all. So he really specializes in church history. He knows so much about church history. He'll tell you about the early church. He'll tell you about the medieval scholastics. He'll tell you about certain proto-Protestant groups. He'll tell you about how Presbyterians influenced the American Revolution. Not just influenced, but in many ways caused. How the American Revolution would not have happened without Presbyterians. And he talks about Presbyterian church history all the way going up to the founding of First Presbyterian Church Spokane. And the coolest thing is that he's PCUSA, but he's very based. So I know a lot of people who are like in the CREC, and they think, oh, I can't join the PCUSA. It's full of a bunch of liberals. Honestly, Bruce Gore's opinions on things are pretty similar to the average CREC person, except he's a good standing member of the PCUSA. Like, seriously. So I think I would highly recommend Bruce Gore to anyone who wants to get into that stuff. And yeah, what do you guys think? You guys like Bruce Gore? I would highly. I should have put Bruce Gore's. I should have put Bruce Gore's YouTube channel in the description of this video. Honestly. Okay, based Tradcath. I'm sure that name was not inspired at all by any of my videos. What do you think about Christians, especially online ones, with an adoration for World War II Germany? Yeah, they don't really know their history because, like, that was not a good place for Christians. So I have a Jewish side and a Catholic side in my family. Even though I have a Jewish side, the only family member of mine that was in one of the camps was on my Catholic side, and he was in Dachau for being a Catholic priest. So Catholics were also persecuted under that regime. So any Catholic who acts like it was a good thing is a complete LARPer. It was not good for anyone but people who went along with every single aspect of the regime. It wasn't good for Catholics, wasn't good for Protestants, wasn't really good for anyone. So people just don't know their history, and they think, watching a YouTube video from some guy LARPing as a historian counts as knowing history. But even though What If Alt Hist has some really crazy personal takes, I think he does a good job debunking some of the alt-right nonsense that we're seeing today. Okay, so I was talking about Bruce Gore and things I like about him. And honestly, I can hardly think of anything negative. I'm only saying this because I have to say something not positive about everyone. So Bruce Gore thinks that the New Light, New Side Presbyterians were like the good guys during the First Great Awakening. And he really credits them for the influence Presbyterians had. And honestly, he might actually be right about that. Bruce Gore tends to think the New Light, New Side Presbyterians were like the ones who really cared about the Reformed faith, and the Old Light Presbyterians were just country club Presbyterians who are more like cultural and just more comfortable. That's not accurate history. The Old Light Presbyterians were the ones requiring strict subscription to the Westminster Confession of Faith, and the New Light ones focused more on, revival tactics. But aside from that, there's basically nothing bad I can What if all his did what? Okay, well, I didn't know about that. I didn't know about that at all. Okay, so we are approaching another Lutheran part of this Minecraft server. And the next guy I'm going to talk about well, I guess I'll list a few more Presbyterians because I'm Presbyterian, we're special. So if you want a Presbyterian pastor online to listen to, I would highly recommend Reverend Don Baker. So he pastors an English-speaking Presbyterian church in South Korea. So he's like a white dude, but he pastors a church in South Korea. And he is great. What I really like about him is he gives the Reformed view of the sacraments and is really well reformed on these issues. Okay, NNDJKN, thank you for the super chat. He says, will Mainline ever beat Pentecostals or non-denominational? What do you mean by beat? If you mean in numbers, I'm not sure. But I don't think this is a numbers game, because if it is a numbers game, then we should all be hyper-charismatic, because that's what's spreading. Okay, you should watch a Messenger of Truth's videos on annihilationism. Yeah, I am not an annihilationist. That is not the lowercase o orthodox position. I know my friend Inspiring Philosophy is also an eventual annihilationist. Eventual annihilationism means you think hell exists temporarily, but eventually your soul just gets puffed out. I can respect that position, and philosophically, I think it makes the most sense. It doesn't make the most sense biblically, and the Bible always comes before philosophy. Okay. Putting philosophy before the Bible is the gateway to many heresies. Now, I don't think my friend Inspiring Philosophy, Michael Jones, is a heretic at all. I think he's very cool. And by the way, I know what denomination Inspiring Philosophy is, and I'm not telling you because I promised him I wouldn't tell you. But I know what it is, and I'm not telling you. Okay, thank you for the super chat. Deutsche Amerikaner. Okay. You were at a Russian Orthodox church and had a Russian Empire flag used during World War I. Do I think Lutheran churches should have a World War I German flag? I mean, honestly, if there wasn't so much cultural sensitivity about Germany and any sort of German national identity at all, I think they probably would do that. Okay, guys, I'm literally Jewish, and Germany needs to get over their guilt. Okay, every country has done really bad things. You don't see Turkey obsessing over guilt for the Armenian genocide. So every country has done evil. Only Germany keeps endlessly self-flagellating over it. As a Jew, as a Jewish guy with the biggest nose you've ever seen, we have to make Germany great again. And Germans need to recover some of their national pride and not apologize for being German. All right? There's a reason there were so many Jews in Germany. There's a reason my last name is a German language last name, because Germany was a good place. Germany was like the most advanced society, and Germany's great. Okay? Make Germany great again. That is going to get so pulled into one of them out of context videos, isn't it? But yeah, my wife is German ethnically. I mean, she's been in America since like the days of the Mayflower, but she's ethnically German. And a lot of the greatest Americans, like Eisenhower, who actually defeated the Nazis, were ethnically German. So Germany is based, and yeah. All right, Minecraft as Christianity. Java is Protestant, unmodded, and evangelical is modded. No, well, I think I would say mainline is like modded Minecraft, and evangelical is like unmodded. Legacy console is Orthodox. Bedrock is Catholic. Yeah, Pocket Edition is Latin, right? I know. I would say Java is Protestant. Bedrock is Catholic, Xbox is Orthodox, and Pocket Edition is evangelical. Yeah, Deutsche Amerikaner, let's make Germany great again. Like, I don't think Germany was great during World War II, but there's more to Germany than World War II, right? Okay. Thoughts on okay. Anyway, this is Ravinia, by the way. This is the one of the Lutheran regions of my Minecraft server, but I'm actually going to the Congregationalist region. So we talked about Presbyterians. I talked about Reverend Don Baker. Okay, I have to say something bad about Reverend Don Baker. I can't even think of anything bad. Okay, fine. He's in the denomination that was started by Francis Schaeffer, the International Presbyterian Church. And I don't like, personally, when, Reformed celebrity authors make their own denominations. Like, that falls right into the criticism that Catholics and Orthodox accuse Protestants of. That's like a real version of that. So, like, Francis Schaeffer and Joel Beakey are very popular Reformed authors. They both started their own denominations. In fact, Joel Beakey started his own denomination so he could get a divorce. It's like the real version of what King Henry VIII supposedly did. So I'm sure they say a lot of good things, right? And they probably do. Like, they wouldn't sell books if they weren't smart. But doing that, random people starting their own denominations when there are denominations they totally could have joined, is not acceptable. It is not. None of the church fathers would have had the slightest tolerance for that. No, Baptists have not gone down my list because of James White. Yeah, he could have joined the free Reformed churches. He could have joined not a million. There are so many denominations Joel Beakey could have joined, but because he wants to have this weird sort of nerdy synthesis of Dutch Reformed and Puritanism, he had to start his own denomination. All right, by the way, I'm in the Congregationalist region, Navaket, which is not very populated because you can't find many Congregationalists online these days. But yeah. All right, you're Deku. Thanks for the super chat. You've been considering switching denominations for almost a year now. Advice? I swear I'm not a LARPer. I was raised evangelical Baptist. My advice depends on what you're considering switching to. If you're switching to Presbyterian, I think it's a very good idea. If you're jumping directly from like evangelical to Catholic, I'd say at least consider and try traditional Protestantism. You don't have to go from one extreme to the other so quickly. All right, so here's a Congregationalist church. There was this Congregationalist lady who built this and some other Congregationalist churches on this server, but there's just not many active Congregationalists on here. So, yeah. All right, so that's the Presbyterians. Now I'm going to give you my opinion on Dutch Reformed YouTubers. There's honestly only... So there's two I can think of. There's two Dutch Reformed YouTubers I can think of. My favorite is Paul Vanderklay. He's part of the CRCNA, which is like semi-mainline. It is schismatic, but it schismed off long enough ago that they have their own history and heritage. And also the CRC is like, they didn't schism because of liberalism. They basically schismed so that they could speak Dutch more. Like, literally, that's exactly what happened. Like, this is one of the more memeable aspects of Protestantism that we have to change really quickly. But that is what happened. They literally schismed so they could speak Dutch more. And there's other reasons. I think the Freemasons had something to do with it as well. They didn't want to let Freemasons in the church. But they are still in full communion with the RCA, and they still often exchange pastors. So that's why I think they're semi-mainline. So Paul Vanderklay is really cool. I like Paul Vanderklay. He's kind of like, he tries to be like the reformed Jordan Peterson, but he actually does a good job at that. And he's like, if Jordan Peterson were Christian, so he's like a Calvinist Jordan Peterson. He's very good at cultural analysis. And what I love about Paul Vanderklay is that he's just so honest about religious and cultural trends. He's not biased. It's very refreshing to see someone who is just very straightforward and honest about what's going on and not giving any propaganda. Like, he'll report on the orthobro phenomenon. A lot of young men convert to Eastern Orthodoxy, and he'll explain why they're doing that. And you won't be all polemical against them and say, like, oh, they're just doing it for the vibes. They don't really know their Bible. No, he'll report honestly on it. And he'll report honestly on some of the issues with that movement, just like every movement has issues, but he's very honest. The one negative thing I could possibly say about Paul Vanderklay is I think he's a bit too soft on some of the liberalism in his denomination, the CRC. Like, the CRC is actually a Reconquista victory tale. Like, just 5 years ago, it was even 3 years ago, honestly, it was very up in the air whether the Christian Reformed Church would continue to uphold Yeah, exactly, provolone. Whether they would continue to uphold the Bible's teaching on marriage, on same-sex marriage. They were going down the same liberal drift as many of the others. Now, because the conservatives stayed and didn't run away, they actually resisted it and actually are starting to kick out the liberals now, which is brilliant, which is amazing. This is the first time I can think of a denomination in modern times kicked out the liberals, as opposed to the conservatives just being cowards and running away. That was great that they did that. However, Paul Vanderklay wasn't celebrating as much as I was. It seemed like he was kind of like mourning the loss of some of the liberal churches, even though he's not liberal himself. He was kind of like, well, I just want us to all be one big happy family and stuff. And I was a lot more celebratory than he was. But overall, I really, really like Paul Vanderklay. He's also from New Jersey. He's from my neck of the woods. There's tons of Reformed churches in New Jersey. So he uses a lot of words that I grew up using, like fetch and schlep and all those other Yiddish words. I have heard of Seminex. And I'm burning in lava. I have heard of Seminex. In fact, a lot of my wife's family, she's descended from a lot of Lutheran ministers. A lot of them were raised in Seminex. They're like ELCA ministers that were from Seminex, but they weren't nearly as liberal as the ELCA got. So now her family has mostly drifted into those moderate schismatic Lutheran denominations like the NALC and the LCMC. I went to an LCMC church one time that was like more contemporary than any PCA church that I've ever been to. Anyway, I have some super chats to answer. I've skipped on that. Okay. Sofer Walken. Hope you have been well. Episcopal guy here. Let's go. I love the Episcopalians. If your mom recently moved to LCMS and LCMS church is not happy with, I've been trying to encourage her to go to Reconquista Church, but I'm hesitant. Well, look, LCMS, it's not exactly a mainline church, but it's not a schismatic offshoot either. The LCMS is what I call a remnant church, where they are the remnants of an old mainline denomination that refused to join a liberal merger. So I'm content with people being LCMS. The LCMS is honestly like the last best hope of conservative magisterial Protestantism in America. So I think if your mom's LCMS, more power to her. And if you want to be Episcopal, that's also really based. But that's a very good question. Thank you, Zofer Walken. All right. I think that's all the super chats. Okay, Tim Hartman, favorite Minecraft version. I might say 1.7.2. That's the version on which this server was built. This server was generated in Minecraft 1.7.2. This server was generated over 11 years ago, if you can believe it. The server is over 11 years old. Okay, thank you for the super chat, Base Tradcath. What do you think about confession considering John 20:23? I think Gavin Ortland has a very good video on confession. Protestants affirm confession. Like, I confess my sins to my pastor. Absolution is a real thing in the Protestant church. The difference is it's usually, not always, it's usually a corporate confession that's built into our liturgy. And the priest does actually forgive sins in Protestant churches. It's more explicit in a Lutheran church. Like, if you go to an LCMS church, generally, the pastor will say, like, something along the lines of, I declare that absolution of sins is affected. No, that's the Calvinist way. In the Lutheran church, what they'll say is, as an ordained servant of Christ and by his authority, I forgive you your sins in the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. The Calvinist version is, I declare that absolution of sins is affected in the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. But we do forgive sins declaratively. It's just not infallibly. And I don't think the Catholics believe it's infallibly either. So, yeah, the thing is, it's not tied into a system of penance. That's the difference between the Protestant and Catholic versions. Oh, I'm in the Congregationalist area. So right here is a monument to Oliver Cromwell. Hail Cromwell, protector of the realm. Am I using mods? It's a great tragedy. I used to. So this terrain that you see, this was generated with the Biomes O'Plenty mod 11 years ago. But we removed the mods to make it easier for people to join. The mods were removed in 2017. And honestly, I don't have many regrets in life. I think most of the decisions I made in life were the right ones. Submitting to Jesus was not a decision I made because Calvinism and all. But The decision I regret every day is removing the mods. I miss the Biomes of Plenty mod. All right, so for Walken, you meant she was actually not happy with the LC mod. Oh, sorry. Sorry for misunderstanding you and compelling you to spend more money on a super chat. Okay, then go ahead and invite her to the Episcopal Church then. I mean, I like the LCMS. There's many great LCMS churches, but if she's not happy, yeah, I would say Gospel Simplicity is a great, as a YouTuber I like a lot. I disagree with him on some things. I think he is a bit too high church for me. But Gospel Simplicity has recently joined the Episcopal Church, and he has a lot of good material on why he made that decision. He was like, Gospel Simplicity is so based. He spoke to like the best Roman Catholic and Eastern Orthodox apologists for like years. He spoke to Jay Dyer, Father Josiah Trenum, a bunch of Catholic apologists, and then he ends up going mainline Protestant. What a Giga Chad. Austin, what a Giga Chad. Anyway, so the next Dutch Reformed guy I'm going to talk about is Dr. Michael Horton. I did a video with him once, and I think Michael Horton is now he runs Sola Media. I think it's very base that he's running Sola Media along with an Episcopal bishop, Justin Holcomb, who's very based and conservative. I think Sola Media has good potential to be a good Protestant apologetics resource. I think they still need to understand the lay of the land, but I would say of like NAPARC, of like the sort of conservative, honestly, offshoot Protestant denominations, Michael Horton is like one of the best. Michael Horton was my RUF minister's seminary professor, and my RUF minister was very helpful to me in college. So I've always respected Michael Horton for stuff like that. Now, my one criticism of Michael Horton is obviously his radical two kingdoms theology. He's from Westminster Seminary, Escondido, California, which is infamous for teaching radical two kingdoms. Not again. Radical two kingdoms, the idea that the church should not try to have an influence in culture because that's not the church's job. But overall, I think Michael Horton is quite good. What's my opinion on WELS, the Wisconsin Synod Lutherans? That's funny you ask, because Wisconsin Synod is like the most like purist and separatist, or I won't say separatist, but sectarian form of Lutheranism. So much so that not only will they not take communion with non-WELS Lutherans, they will not even pray with you. Like, that's what they're famous for. Now, you would think that they would be some of the most hostile, argumentative people online, but every WELS Lutheran I've met online has actually been very chill, much more chill than LCMS Lutherans. Now, I think that some of the more conservative Lutheran denominations are needlessly separate from each other. I think WELS and LCMS should just join up together. But there's like this huge graph that Useful Charts made of all the many denominations. Like, it's literally a graph of every single denomination, not just every single broad tradition like Reformed, Lutheran, Anglican, whatever, but every single denomination, like every particular Presbyterian denomination, Lutheran denomination, and almost all denominations, whether Protestant, Catholic, or Orthodox, are connected by enough degrees of separation. But the WELS is like in its own tiny bubble. So they are legitimately not corrupted, if you will, by anyone else. So make it that way you will. Okay, hey, gold. Okay, I'm trying to get into one of those underground caves, if you couldn't tell. That's what I'm trying to do here. So, Big Cam, I'm Orthodox Methodist, but both UMC and Global are non-denomination. What do you mean by that? I don't think, by definition, they're not non-denominational. They both are denominations. By Orthodox Methodist, do you mean just like a theologically conservative Methodist? Okay, but I'm where I want to be right now. I'm in this place. So I'm basically just looking for diamonds. Okay, Deku, how do I go about deciding Presby or Anglican? So I'm going to give a very scholastic argument. Go Presby. No, seriously. Both are decent options. I would also say whatever you can find a better mainline church of. So if the only good churches near you are like PCUSA or ACNA, I would say like go PCUSA. But if the only good churches near you are Episcopal or PCA, I would say go Episcopal. So my answer to that is whatever you can find a better mainline church of near you. So for Anglicans, the mainline church in America would be the Episcopal Church, and for Presbyterians, it'd be the PCUSA. Because I'm an ecumenist, and because all the mainlines are united anyway, I'd rather you be a mainline non-Presbyterian than a non-mainline Presbyterian. So that's why I would side with like the Episcopal Church or the United Methodist Church over like ECO, for example. A few years ago, I might not have said that, but now I would say that. Okay, I'm trying to find where's the diamonds? Where can I find diamonds? Okay, worst thing to happen in my life. I don't want to speak too soon, but nothing like that terrible has happened. I think like when I was younger, I misbehaved a lot. Like before I was Christian, I got in a lot of trouble, so that was probably the worst thing. I got in a lot of trouble at school and stuff. Kale Perkins, thanks for the super chat. Or is he talk about the Second Baptist Church of Arkansas? So you guys might not know this, but the Second Baptist Church of Arkansas is actually the one true church outside of which there's no salvation. And if you don't live in Arkansas, then that's just too bad. Okay. Looks like we got all those super chats. Now let's continue. So for Lutherans, I'd say my favorite... oh, nice, my chat. For Lutherans, I'd say my favorite Lutheran YouTuber, theologian, whatever, is Dr. Jordan B. Cooper. This one's very easy to determine. This one's not even close. Jordan Cooper is awesome. And even though he's Lutheran and I'm Reformed, because of just how smart and articulate Jordan Cooper is, I think it's because he's a Northeasterner like me. Because of how smart and articulate he is, Jordan Cooper, when I was first learning like in-depth theology, gave me a better understanding of Reformed theology than any Reformed YouTubers at the time. Now we have people like Canon Creed and Reverend Don Baker who can explain Reformed theology well. But back then, like the only Reformed people online were like R.C. Sproul types who, for all their strengths, are not good at explaining Reformed theology beyond the very surface level, I don't think. And Jordan Cooper explained Reformed theology to me better than any of them ever did. Did someone just kill the Ender Dragon? That's what I heard in the game. Okay. But yeah, I really like Dr. Jordan B. Cooper. If there's one bad thing I had to say about him, I mean, I don't want to say a bad thing about him, but one criticism, one respectful critique of Jordan Cooper, it'd be that regarding the Reconquista, I think he is a bit too pessimistic about the ability to retake mainline churches, right? Oh, I found diamonds in this chest. Nice. Now, he is in something that's basically a mainline church. So he can take for granted that he has a nice institution. I don't think Jordan Cooper knows how hard it is for Presbyterians to not have a mainline Orthodox institution in America. I feel like if he did know that, he'd be more sympathetic to the cause of Reconquista. And he is a bit sympathetic. He has a nuanced take on Reconquista. Jordan Cooper's not in the LCMS. He's in the AALC, which is in full communion with the LCMS. And the AALC didn't schism from anyone. The AALC, oh, diamonds, nice. Just like the LCMS, is a remnant denomination that refused to join the ELCA merger. Okay, let me get these diamonds. So for Lutherans, that's Jordan Cooper. Now let's talk about Anglicans. So I like the other poll. He's got some good stuff. Young Anglican, he is an ACNA defender, so I disagree with him on that, but he is very smart. The best Anglican YouTuber I'd probably say is Anglican Aesthetics. I think he's the best, and he's a Anglican who's actually willing to debate, Catholics and Eastern Orthodox people. So Sean Luke from Anglican Aesthetics, even though he's an ACNA defender, which is cringe, nobody's perfect. That's like the negative thing I'd say about him. Nobody's perfect. And he is in the ACNA, but, it seems smart people are in the ACNA because Sean Luke really knows what he's talking about. Smart people are in the ACNA. The only problem is that Anglicanism is not in the ACNA. Any suggestions on retaking the Danish state church? David Berg Gallagher, thank you for the super chat. I would say encourage. Honestly, state churches have more of a rootedness in culture than American mainline churches. I would say simply don't leave. Like it's kind of like the American Revolutionary War tactic of you. All right, are we back? Are we back, guys? Are we back, boys? Are we back? Yes or no? Yay. Okay. All right. I don't know why that happens. My internet sucks. It always has. Because I am still, because that's what we subscribe to, I am still stuck with Spectrum Wi-Fi, which, as I've said, as I've dogmatically declared, Spectrum Wi-Fi is on the spectrum. And it's Nestorian. It separates my computer from my internet. Anyway, did I finish answering Jordan Fernandez's question before the stream died? Did I finish answering that? Did I finish answering Jordan Fernandez's question? No? Okay, so yeah, what I would say to Jordan Fernandez is make sure that visit multiple churches while you're discerning. Visit multiple historic churches. Just don't commit or identify as any of them until you're done discerning. That's how you can avoid LARPing. Is that a good answer? Is Jordan Fernandez still here? I hope we didn't lose him when my Spectrum Wi-Fi decided to spaz out. Hope we didn't lose him. But yeah, I don't want to make him waste $10. Okay, great. Thank you. Now let's talk about Gavin Ortland. I was talking about him. I didn't realize the stream was out. Gavin Ortland is definitely the best Baptist YouTuber. Sorry, James White, but I don't think James White is the best James White's. It's like even in my video criticizing, or not even criticizing, really, just responding to James White calling me a heretic. My opinion of him hasn't changed as a result of that. I still think James White is good for debating Muslims or like atheists like Bart Ehrman. I just don't think he's ever won a debate with a Catholic. I think he did pretty well in debate on the canon. Like, I think that's the best debate he did with a Catholic. Generally, James White loses to Catholics. I think that. But I think the best Baptist YouTuber is Gavin Ortland. Like, now Protestants are blessed because we actually have quite a few decent Protestant apologetics YouTubers. There's Canon and Creed, there's Cleave to Antiquity, there's Anglican Aesthetics. They're all pretty good. But like 2 years ago, all we had was Gavin Ortland. And like he was like carrying all of Protestant apologetics. Now, obviously, it's no secret where I would disagree with Gavin Ortland because he defends non-denominational churches. He actually is in a non-denominational church right now. He used to be a mainline Baptist. He used to be an American Baptist, but I think he's got too positive a view of evangelicalism. So I disagree with him there. But even so, his version of evangelicalism is like the intellectual Fuller Seminary version. I think he thinks that all of evangelicalism can be turned into that. I just don't agree with him there. But I still really respect Gavin Ortland. So last time I did this type of video, last time I gave my a video about my thoughts on various famous pastors, I listed Vodi Baucham as like the Baptist who was closest to being reformed. I still really like Vodi Baucham. He was probably the best of like the previous generation of Reformed Baptists. I still love his famous speech, "What is wrong with the world? You." But Gavin Ortland is definitely much more historically informed than Vodi Baucham because Vodi Baucham is like a subordinationist because I think he just doesn't know. So yeah. Gavin Ortland is definitely the best Baptist YouTuber, still is, I think. All right. Kale Perkins, does Hebrew 1:12 mean God won't speak to us now? No, God does speak to us, but not publicly. There's no new public revelation, and all denominations agree on that. I think the bare fact that there's no new public revelation is a good case for sola scriptura, or at least prima scriptura. Now, sola scriptura basically is prima scriptura, but Yeah, there's no new public revelation. So God is not going to reveal new information to us. There's no Book of Mormon, there's no Quran, okay? But the Holy Spirit is with all of us, and the Holy Spirit does speak in our hearts. But it's usually like the Holy Spirit does not give new public revelation. So if someone says, "Oh, God revealed to me this new thing about God," okay, no, that's heresy. Someone who says that is starting a cult. But if you are going through a hard time in your life, God can put things on your heart. The Holy Spirit can point you to a certain verse of the Bible, which will help you with that. But he's pointing you to things that have already been revealed, or applying what has already been revealed to your personal context. All right, Brian Gronberg. How did you meet Trent Horn? And congratulations on partnering with his channel. Yes, everyone pray for Laura Horn. We got very good news this morning, or maybe it was last night, whenever it was, because apparently the tumor that Laura Horn has is one of the more treatable kinds. So our prayers for that have been answered. Continue to pray for Laura Horn. Lord, please help Laura Horn fully recover and be with the whole family, and help Trent be a supportive husband in the meantime. But that's very good. So I forget exactly. So I think I forget if it was me or him who originally reached out, but in 2024, in like spring 2024, I did a video in person with him when he was just setting up his new studio, and then I did another video with him. So I think he and I have just always been like friends online for a while. So I met him online, obviously, but he was really cool. Over a burger that was funded by Catholic Answers money. Thank you, Catholic Answers. We shared our common grievances with the Trad Caths and the Orthobros. What's better? Okay, Dave Jackson. What's better, Bedrock or Legacy Console Minecraft? I can't say because I haven't played either. I've only ever played Pocket Edition and Java, which I'm doing right now. Okay. Barnabas, worst Presbyterian alive right now, in your opinion? Well, obviously just the heretics that are prominent in the PCUSA. There are literal heretics that have high positions in the PCUSA, so I'd say probably one of them. I can't name individual names because there's like many of them. Like there are ordained Presbyterian ministers who do not believe Jesus rose from the dead. And they're ordained Presbyterian ministers. People ask, why be a minister if you believe that? It's because they believe it's their job to hijack the church and turn it into a social justice club. Because liberals never make good institutions. All they can ever do is hijack Christian institutions. So that's why they're here. But yeah, those are the worst Presbyterians. I mean, they're not theologically Presbyterian at all, but they are institutionally Presbyterian if they're ministers in Presbyterian churches. All right, what denomination is up next? So let's see. We did Baptist, any Protestant one? Okay, Methodist. So the Connectionalist is spelled with an X because the Methodist church government is called Connexionalism. I think the word connexion is kind of a weird word, but he's called the Connexionalist, spelled with an X. And even though, like, I'm going to start with the bad. Like, the bad is that he is a liberal, technically. He does affirm gay marriage, which I do not condone at all. I don't condone any aspect of this, the sexual revolution. But other than that, he's pretty orthodox. And he's actually a very chill YouTuber. And, like, even if you're a very, very conservative Christian like I am, I think you could watch a lot of his videos and agree with almost everything that he says. I honestly think he's the best Methodist YouTube pastor. I mean, the seedbed people are pretty cool, but he engages in very relevant discourse. So obviously the negative aspect of him is he's liberal, which I don't approve of. But aside from that, like, he's really cool and his videos are very good. So I'm not condoning liberalism. But aside from that, he's very cool. And he does cool reaction videos. Like, he does a reaction video to like almost all of my videos, by the way. Play Escape from Tarkov. Okay, let me tell you. So my roommate in college, my college roommate would like spend like 5 hours a day playing Escape from Tarkov. I have no idea how that game works at all. But I saw him playing that a lot. The only game I play is Minecraft because guys, I play like no recreational video games. The only Minecraft I play is like for the sake of this channel. and for the sake of this server, which is a very important part of this channel's community. But yeah, so I don't play any video games besides Minecraft. I barely ever play purely recreational video games. Anthony, thanks for the super chat. Besides Orthodox problems, what do you think of Father Spiridon? I think he's cool. I think it's pretty cool. I've watched a few videos of him, like on the importance of fasting and stuff. He gives good advice. So yeah, aside from the things I would disagree with all Orthodox people on, I think he's cool. You're raised Baptist, looking at Episcopalian. Why should I consider Presbyterian? Well, Episcopalian is a good option. I think Presbyterianism is more theologically rigorous than Episcopalianism. Like the Episcopalian mindset is, well, we all sort of believe different things, but we're going to come together around this liturgy and stuff. The Presbyterian mindset is truth matters because God is real, and we have to glorify God, and we have to speak rightly about God. So let's all try to get it right, and maybe we're going to get it wrong. We're always going to get it wrong because we're fallible, but we still try to glorify God in everything we do, and that includes our theology, and that includes trying to have right theology. So yeah, even though there's a lot that's beautiful about Episcopalianism, I think Episcopalians have the best aesthetics out of anyone. I would never be Episcopalian. The theological rigor of Presbyterianism is very unmatched, except for maybe the Dutch Reformed. Okay. I did Methodism. We talked about the Connectionalist. Is there any Protestants I'm forgetting? I wish there were some good. Oh wait, so he's not exactly a YouTuber, but the best Congregationalist with an online presence, hands down, no question, Reverend Jake Dell. He's the lion of the Reconquista. So he was an Episcopal priest at first, who was one of the first, pastors or priests to support the Reconquista. And for doing so, he got kicked out of the Episcopal, not kicked out exactly, but like fired. But he didn't back down. He didn't start his own new denomination like J. Gresham Machen did. Instead, he just joined a different mainline church, got ordained there, and now he's like a really hardcore Reconquista person. Okay, I'm not taking your Monopoly money, Argentina guy. Christian Gilbert. I never said that. Christian. Keep in mind, there's a big difference between something that's metaphysically possible and something that's, permissible. But I never said that. That issue is too controversial on both sides, and both sides are incapable of understanding any nuance, so I've just decided to avoid that issue altogether. Everyone thinks I'm on the opposite side of them on that issue. Thoughts on John Piper Desiring God, partner of... Wait, is Gavin Ortland partnering with John Piper in Desiring God? I wasn't aware of that. I think Gavin Ortland is much more historically literate than the Desiring God people, but hopefully he can help them. Okay, now I'm trapped in this cave, and I don't know how to get out. I've been just walking in circles in this cave for a while. Okay, I think now I've gotten all the Protestants. Now let's move to some non-Protestants. So for Catholics, my favorite Catholic has always been Bishop Robert Barron. He's very articulate, and he does make polemics against Protestants sometimes, but he's very, very articulate, very fair, very charitable. The one negative thing I'd say about him is he did basically tell Ben Shapiro that Jewish people don't have to repent and believe in Jesus, and that even implied atheists of goodwill can be saved. Like, no, atheists can't be saved. People who follow Ben Shapiro's religion can't be saved either. I don't believe in Vatican II, and I don't believe invincible ignorance means they can be saved. I think, honestly, Catholics are going to hate me for bringing this guy up, but Peter Diamond and the Sedevacantists, even though they're kind of silly, the Sedevacantists make a good point that invincible ignorance doesn't mean unbelievers can be saved. Invincible ignorance just means they're not guilty of the sin of unbelief, but they will be condemned just for their sins because they're not spared from their sins by having faith in Christ. So even with the concept of invincible ignorance, it doesn't mean non-Christians can be saved. And I know some Catholics would take a more conservative reading of Vatican II, which would say, oh, we're not saying they can normatively be saved. We're just saying that maybe God works somehow in these other groups. But Bishop Robert Barron clearly thinks differently. Bishop Robert Barron is much more authoritative as an interpreter of Vatican II than Based Crusader 69 on Twitter. Okay, did I miss someone? Yeshua is Lord. May Christ bless you. Catholic here, and I enjoy your content. I ask the glorious martyrs and the saints to pray for. Well, thank you. Thank you for the prayer. I wouldn't pray directly, or I wouldn't ask people that aren't like in front of me, or people that can't empirically see or hear what I'm saying to pray for me, but I appreciate you doing that, and I know it's in goodwill, so thank you. Barnabas, in your opinion, what things do you think liberal Christians tend to do better than conservative Christians? That is a very good question. And I know you said I could say nothing. I honestly wouldn't say nothing. I am not like, obviously, if you ask Twitter, I'm like a liberal Jew. And if you ask Reddit, I'm like a far-right extremist. I do not think that there's nothing liberal Christians generally do better than conservative Christians. I think, honestly, liberal Christians are more welcoming in a good way than conservative Christians. Like, if you go to a PCUSA church, chances are you'll be much more welcomed than if you go to a PCA church, even if that PCUSA church has liberal leanings. Like, I feel like liberal Christian churches often sometimes have a bit of a more welcoming environment, welcoming in a good sense. Like, there's welcoming in a bad sense where you're like welcoming of sins, but they're more welcoming across the board. So they are more welcoming of sins, which is bad, but they are more welcoming of people, which is good. Another thing liberal Christians, honestly, unironically, do better on average than conservative Christians is helping the poor. Now, I think this is more of like mainline versus non-mainline, because like a conservative mainline church will be just as good at helping the poor as like a liberal mainline church. But generally, even when churches are very liberal and have abandoned the teachings of Christ on, belief in God and social teachings, they will still obey the teachings of Christ better than the average conservative church regarding helping the poor. Like, seriously, a lot of evangelical churches think that all you really need to do for the poor is like tell them about the gospel or whatever, but the apostles never separated tending to people's spiritual needs from tending to their physical needs. So that's a very good question. Very good question, honestly. And yeah, liberals are honestly better at doing that. Also, liberals, even in the same denomination, liberals tend to be more like traditional in their worship style. Mrs. Zoomer, my wife, thinks it's because, if you don't have traditional beliefs, you have to have like an extra traditional style to compensate for it. Like, honestly, especially in like mainline churches, the most high church people tend to be homosexuals. Like, they really like the pomp. Like gay men tend to really like the pomp and style and fashion of all the robes and stuff. So liberals in mainline denominations tend to really like, venerating icons and stuff, things I do not approve of at all. Anyway, but yeah, now I'm not saying anyone who likes high church stuff is gay, but in the mainline churches, gay men tend to, and just liberals in general, tend to really like the sort of meditative, like high church spiritual practices and stuff like that. I've never really been in, like, a lot of mainline churches have adopted like labyrinth walks and stuff, and some even have like iconography these days. I'm not into that. But yeah. Hey, Diamond's here. Okay, let's get some diamonds. And is this a cave? No. Okay. So that's Bishop Robert Barron. For Orthodoxy, I would say my favorite Orthodox, he's not like a priest or anything. My favorite is like Jonathan Pageau, because he is pretty charitable, and he explains why he's Orthodox and why he thinks Orthodoxy is superior and all. But he has very, very good analyses of things. And every time I watch a video by Jonathan Pageau, it really makes me think about stuff. So I really respect him. I think he's cool. All right. The bad thing about him, not sure if I can think of any. Like, I disagree with his theology, but aside from that, he's pretty cool. Okay. Next up is the Oriental Orthodox Church, and I would say Agen is a very good Oriental Orthodox YouTuber and apologist. I think he does a very good job with what he does. So yeah, I really got a lot of respect for Agen there. If there's any negatives, I'd say once again I disagree with Miaphysitism, of course. But yeah. And for the Assyrian Church of the East, the Nestorians, there's this one YouTuber's name's like Assyrian Philosophy, or actually no, the official channel of the Assyrian Church of the East in Australia. I would say that's the best Assyrian channel, is the literal YouTube channel of the Assyrian Church of the East. They give some good lectures on how Nestorius, they call him Saint Nestorius or Mar Nestorius, as they say in like the Assyrian. They say he was strawman, and they say, like, Nestorius never rejected the phrase mother of God entirely. Nestorius supposedly just didn't think that was the most helpful way to describe Mary, just because of their anti-Achene Christology or whatever. So what that means is John MacArthur was more Nestorian than Nestorius. Like there's a difference between actual Nestorianism, meaning what the Assyrian Church of the East actually teaches, and what they were accused of teaching. So there's like a Nestorianism scale. So the first level is what Nestorius and the Nestorians actually taught. The second level is what Cyril of Alexandria accused them of teaching. And the third level is like John MacArthur. John MacArthur also said the Donatists were good guys. John MacArthur also said the Donatists were the good guys in church history. I was canceled by like all of Reformed Baptist YouTube for saying that like Pope Francis is better in certain ways than John MacArthur theologically. But all Pope Francis's problems, he did not side explicitly with multiple ancient heresies the way John MacArthur did. Right? Christology is important, and the biggest problem with evangelicalism is thinking soteriology matters more than Christology. Yes, John MacArthur said the Donatists were the good guys. He's being a bit trail of blood pilled when he thinks that the Donatists were actually Baptists who were resisting infant baptism. Now, that's not true, even historically. And it's not like John MacArthur doesn't know better, because he literally said, like, there are people who think Mary is Theotokos. This is a misconception. Mary did not give birth to God. God was never born. John MacArthur said that. So, yeah, that's why I said what I did. Okay. Now I'm going to open it up to Super Chats questions. I think I've listed my thoughts on every one I wanted to talk about today. So now we can open it up to my thoughts on, various people, whoever you want me to talk about. Okay, so my old live streams are on my Patreon. Also, something I've been doing on my Patreon is I'm going to I already did one of these. I'm going to review my seminary notes in Patreon. So if you want to get a glimpse of what I'm learning in seminary, that's going to be on my Patreon. Who did I list for Catholics? I listed Bishop Robert Barron for Catholics. Now, as far as Catholic apologists go, I think Christian Wagner and Kevin Fernandez are the most educated on what Protestantism actually teaches. So, yeah. Okay, right now I'm by the original Green Plateau. This was my Minecraft house in middle school, and I made a series in middle school. Did I miss any Super Chats? I don't think I did, but did I miss any? I don't think I did. Okay, Jake, thanks for the super chat. Do I listen to Chad Wright? No, I'm afraid I don't know who Chad Wright is. In New York, a few ELCA in Brooklyn. LC Master keeps searching. There's actually a pretty good NALC in Manhattan. Thoughts? Sorry, Base Tradcath. I'm not sure who that is. Base Tradcath. I'm wondering if that name of yours is inspired by my meme videos about that. Okay. Guys, for those of you watching in the Minecraft chat, where should I go now? I got what I wanted. I got enough cobblestone and I got some diamonds, so where should I go now? Where is Solomonia? Okay, I'll talk about whoever I get. Okay. Iapeta, I mean, I went to Iapeta pretty recently. Okay, can somebody show me which questions I missed? I try not to miss questions. Sometimes I miss them anyway, though. I wanna. Oh, Christian Gilbert. I'm new to the Reformed faith. I plan to visit PCUSA Church Sunday. If the pastor preaches heresy, should I return to my old PCUSA an hour away? If it's actually heresy, then yeah, not every problem is heresy. You know, there's not a single pastor who's not going to occasionally say something wrong or bad. If it's actually heresy, that's a different thing. All right. Where should I go, guys? Right now I'm at the Green Plateau. I'm kind of in the center of the map. What do I think about James White's debate with Joe Heschmeyer? Joe Heschmeyer easily won. Thoughts on G.K. Chesterton? Very based, even though he critiques Calvinism. Very based. I want to get to these new questions, but I also want to get to the super chats I missed. Can somebody tell me what the super chats were about so I can get to them? Somebody tell me what they're about. Anybody? Anybody? All right, since you guys don't want to help, I guess I'll move on for now. Where can you tell me? All right. The Iapetan frontier is kind of far. I guess I can try to go to New Westminster. I already been there. I want to go to somewhere new. Okay, looks like I didn't miss any. Looks like I didn't miss any. Okay, I'm going to Manplatten once again. Going to Manplatten. And you become congregational. Congregationalism is very based. Okay, I'll just warp. I want to. Okay, finally, I'm here in Solomonia. I went where you guys wanted. Yeah, this is a very, very beautiful town. Yeah, all the new places in my world are built by much more competent builders than I am, so they look a lot nicer than a lot of the old parts of my world. But yeah, this is Solomonia. Very nice place. This is a Baptist area. All right. Any more questions? So I talked about all the people I wanted to talk about, but is there anyone that you guys want me to talk about that I haven't talked about yet? Ceiling fan plushie. I might actually do that. Okay, thoughts on Bonhoeffer's theology. So Bonhoeffer definitely had some L's. Like, he basically made some heretical statements when he was in jail, but I'm not sure if he really meant them or if he was just, like, seriously crashing out. Generally, I like Bonhoeffer. Generally, I think Bonhoeffer was good. And if you give a super chat, I have to answer your question. If not, I just choose whatever I feel like. I have to prioritize the super chats though, because I get so many questions. If you want me to answer something, give a super chat. Spamming it in the chat will not increase your chances. That'll just make me mute you. Okay, so there's nothing there. Okay. Why do I not think sola fide is essential? So it depends on what you mean by essential. Is it essential to a right understanding of the gospel? Yes. Is it essential to being Christian at all whatsoever? No, because I don't think you need to affirm sola fide to be Christian. Saying that contradicts sola fide. We believe in salvation by faith in Christ alone, not salvation by faith alone. Not salvation by faith in faith alone. I don't feel like playing the viola right now because my camera's off. I don't want to just have the audio for that. All right. Thanks for the super chat. Christian Gilbert. Thoughts on contemporary worship music? It's absolutely horrible, and if Martin Luther heard it, he would have unnailed the 95 Theses. Just kidding. Contemporary worship music does not come from Protestantism. It comes from Calvary Chapel. It comes from these hyper-charismatic movements and has been adopted by both Protestants and Catholics. I've actually seen a video of a bunch of Catholics singing like rock and contemporary worship praise music at this big Eucharistic adoration where there's a smoke machine and a bunch of like blue lights focused on the consecrated Eucharist. Do I think God speaks to LDS members? Obviously, God can speak to anyone, but LDS is heresy. LDS is not Christianity. People who are LDS are not saved. So make no mistake about that. No, My Lighthouse is not a good song. There's basically no good CCM songs. There are, and everyone's going to be like, oh, bro, what about this like one CCM band? It's totally not just like a slightly improved version of everyone else. Why'd I block Pine Sap? Oh, because he kept just saying crap about me. If he apologizes for that, I'll apologize for blocking him. I think Jay Dyer is absolutely right in his philosophy about blocking people. If someone gives you crap, just block them on Twitter. You know, we're all too busy to engage in any online beef. So if somebody's, you know, being annoying or giving you crap, just block them. Just block them. And it's not like, it doesn't mean you hate them. Doesn't mean you think they suck. It just means you don't want to have to deal with them. So no, I don't dislike Pine Sap. I just don't have time for online drama. If there's someone who continually is going to start arguments with me or give me crap about my stuff, then I'll just block them. It's not personal. It's never personal. Favorite full submit to authority song at 1 million. Quite possibly. I've already promised, guys, that I'm going to get a new camera and mic, like a good one, if I hit 1 million subscribers. Can you guys help me get to 1 million subscribers if I give you a full submit to authority song? Because actually, I've been formulating the lyrics in my head to a full submit to authority song. I want to submit to authority. I want to... Oh, wait, no. Okay, guys. You know what? I'm going to go to the stage where I had my bad song contest. I'm going there. I'm in Manplatin now, but I'm going to go to the stage where I had a bad song contest. So remind me to come back to the submit to authority thing. So you might not even have to wait till 1 million subscribers. Okay, Andros, should you ignore Jehovah's Witnesses at your door? Yes. Not worth it to try and convert them. If they are like door-to-door people, that they're gonna be trained. They're gonna be stuck in their ways. So it's probably not worth the time. You don't have to do counter door-to-door. Okay. SJ Braveheart, do you plan to do a baptism video like your recent communion video? Do you guys think I should? I'm leaning towards doing that because people seem to appreciate the communion video, talking about all the different denominations' stances on communion. So do you guys think I should do that for baptism? Yes. Okay. Well, it looks like I will. Why do Protestants not use the Septuagint? We do use the Septuagint. Every major translation of Scripture that Protestants use is informed by both the Masoretic text and the Septuagint. If you're wondering why we don't have the deuterocanonical books that were in the Septuagint, here's the thing about the Septuagint. It doesn't exist. What I mean by that is there are Greek manuscripts that are descended from some tradition of the Septuagint, but every like version of the Septuagint that we have has a different list of books. That's why we just rely on not necessarily the Jewish canon because it's the one of the Masoretic text, but because Josephus says that that's the canon the Jews used during the time of Jesus. Would I ever do a dialogue with James White? Sure. I'd be willing to do a debate with him on whether Reformed Baptists are reformed. Thoughts on Christians swearing? Try to avoid it. Like, there's no good reason. Sometimes I slip up. I try not to. It's best not to. Alright. Okay. Thoughts? Check out Chad Wright. He was Calvinist on J. Whenever somebody tells me somebody is Calvinist, I always start with skepticism. Was he actually Calvinist, as in like a Presbyterian or Dutch Reformed, or was he like a Baptist? Because Baptists are not Calvinists. They think they are sometimes, but they're not. Okay. Next question. Why is everyone talking about Pastor Pasta? There was that "Why Are You Gay" interview in Uganda, and the pastor in that interview was referred to as Pasta. But yeah, I don't know. That's probably not what people are talking about. Oh yeah. The thing is, in high school I had way too much time on my hands because I like didn't do my homework or didn't spend time on it. So I actually watched that whole interview, the entire "Why Are You Gay" interview, instead of just like the famous clip. And actually the interviewer was pretty sympathetic to the gay stuff. He was even pretty sympathetic to the transgender stuff. It was the pastor that was being really unhinged about it, and all that. And honestly, the pastor would be correct, but he was acting a bit unhinged. Pasta Sempa. Human A Vite says, should I do your homework? Why would you do your homework when you could not do your homework? So, I often blew off my homework in high school to study theology instead. And everyone's like, you're going to like fail and stuff. I didn't fail. I didn't get the best grades, but now I'm a successful, theology YouTuber. And none of this would have been possible if I listened to my guidance counselor's advice and did my homework with enough effort. I'm so glad that I did the bare minimum for my useless homework. By the way, the teachers wouldn't even make their own homework assignments. They would just download the homework assignments from these websites, and the original websites would not have typos on the assignments. Somehow, magically, when the teachers got the homework, they would add typos to the assignment. Like, I don't know how they even did that. The only modification they made to the pre-made website homework was adding typos. Like, how do you even do that? Anyway. All right, so here I'm in the theater. So I had a bad song contest in here in 2015. It was almost 10 years ago when I had a bad song contest here. I still remember this theater. And this theater is where we used to have the debates for, like, when I was in middle school, the debates for who would be the next deputy of the Green Plateau. Obviously, we didn't have elections for the leader because that was me, and I wasn't going to let anyone challenge my authority because I didn't want to submit to authority. But everyone else had to submit to authority, and we would debate who gets to be the second in command. All right, so now I'm speaking from this podium, on this big stage. Okay. How does it feel to have almost 600,000 subs? I never thought I would get this far. All right. No, I'm not going to sing Submit to Authority right now, if that's what you're wondering, unless I get bribed to do so. Okay. Thoughts on a messenger of truth, annihilationism, and sadovacantism. So annihilationism is not biblical. Messenger of truth has no idea what he's talking about. I've said this before, but by his standards, Martin Luther is not Protestant because he thinks that you're not a real Protestant if you see yourself as closer to Catholics than to evangelicals. So by his own standards, none of the reformers were Protestant. Real Protestantism was not discovered until he started his YouTube channel. Now, annihilationism is also not biblical. The guy supports slavery. Like that, bro. Even like church fathers like Gregory of Nyssa knew slavery was wrong, but this random YouTuber doesn't know that. Okay, Reconquista meetup in the Midwest, Christian Gilbert. The Midwest is the worst section of the country for the PCUSA. I don't know what it is about the Midwest. Like, it's even worse than the Northeast. But I'm sure we can find enough Reconquistadors in the Midwest to do a meetup. In the Presbyterians for the Kingdom, we have like regional group chats for every synod of the PCUSA. So if you join the PCUSA and you join our Discord server, you can help organize a regional meetup. Now, Ohio is actually pretty good because Ohio is where Reverend Dan Turris is at, and that's Covenant First Presbyterian Church in Cincinnati, Ohio, is one of the most beautiful, most based PCUSA churches that there are. But yeah. Do I think my audience idolizes the ceiling fan? Honestly, yes, they do. Okay. Someone pay me? Someone pay me about what? What are we trying to pay me about? Only in Ohio, yes. Down in Ohio, swag like Ohio. Guys, stop giving hyperdulia to my ceiling fan. It's not even here anymore. Do you see a ceiling fan right here? Do you see a ceiling fan? No, you don't. Okay. Next up, build one. Okay, maybe eventually I'll build a ceiling fan. Did John MacArthur defend the Cathars? I haven't heard that. I'm not going to repeat that because I haven't heard it. No, you can't bribe me to name my kid Athanasius Supralapsarianism. Okay, what's the most annoying Catholic straw man of Protestantism? Well, oh wait, super chat. Thank you, Zenkai Clips Archive. I want to attend a Reformed Baptist badly, but am believers baptism am super unsure of Calvinism. So Calvin said Satan supports credo baptism. So you can be a Baptist or you can be a Calvinist. You can't be both. And you really can't separate Calvin's view of the sacraments from paedobaptism, because paedobaptism is part of a Calvinist view of the sacraments. And this wasn't just Calvin's personal opinion. This was the opinion of everyone in the Reformed tradition. Even Zwingli, he was famous for saying things that sound kind of memorialist with Luther, and he probably didn't even mean them. Even Zwingli agreed with Martin Luther that baptism saves. So your average PCA pastor, when they do a baptism, they're like, now baptism doesn't save, but it's a sign and a seal. They're being more Zwinglian than Zwingli. Everyone knew that baptism saves until like pretty recently. Even some of the early Baptists believed that. Okay, not Calvinist, but Reformed is identical to Calvinist. Like, there is no difference. The only difference is that Reformed is the label we gave ourselves, and Calvinist is the label other people gave to us. But there's no real difference. Okay, can I explain how baptism saves? I have a video about this, but basically, baptism of water and baptism of the Holy Spirit are logically connected, even if they're not chronologically connected. So you could be baptized when you're a baby and not come to faith until you're like 20, but baptism still saves because it's God works outside of time. I'd like to visit Ireland because Northern Ireland has some great Presbyterian churches. Is there a Catholic equivalent to Wilhelmius Van Diper? Yeah, it's based Crusader 69. The Orthodox equivalent is Saint Bigachungus of Kazakhstan. The Lutheran equivalent is Johannes Adolf Schnitzelmacher. The Baptist equivalent is Pastor Billy Bob. So, yeah. Saint Bigachungus of Kazakhstan is true Orthodox. He schismed from a true Orthodox priest because the true Orthodox priest had a coffee with a world Orthodox one. So that means all of true Orthodoxy is now contaminated by ecumenism. He has to start the true Orthodox church. Okay, rhetorical question. What's my opinion on snake handling? Yeah, don't do it. It's weird. Which ecumenical councils do I recognize? The first four and the Christological conclusions of 5 and 6. No, you're not getting a Hail Calvin. Okay. Bigot Chungus, he's true Orthodox. He believes in an essence energy's contradiction and that all that exists is actually energy. And he believes that the true Bible is purely oral tradition and that literacy is a Western conspiracy. He said that Russian hesychastic palinism was too Western and called Father Romanides a scholastic Thomist. Did I learn it before or after reading Calvin? Did I learn what? Why am I a germaphobe? Do you want to get the stomach virus? No, I didn't think so. That's why I'm a germaphobe. Okay. If I get enough super chats, I'll sing Submit to Authority from this podium, but I probably won't because you guys have better uses of your money, honestly. Okay, we got some other people here. You guys like when I stream at this time, right? You wash your fruit with soap. One time I actually did that, and my friend really clowned on me for that. No, Justinius, I don't think you want to get the stomach virus. Well, here's the thing about Europeans. They're not real. Anyone who says there's like other countries other than America is communist. Okay. How much is 200 ARS? ARS 200 to you. Oh, no, okay, no, I'm not. I don't take Argentinian monopoly money. Sorry. I don't do that. But because you've given a lot of other super chats, I will answer that question. Which nomination will have the hardest time finding new pastors? Honestly, the PCUSA. And that's why I'm here. That's why I'm trying to become PCUSA pastor. Because it needs it. Because it needs it. Okay. Who's younger than... Okay. But looks like you guys don't want me to sing Submit to Authority from here. So I'll save it for later for when I have all the lyrics fully worked out. And honestly, there's no need for me to be a performance monkey. You guys have missed your chance. SoCal Preston, Baptist who affirms Apocrypha. Thoughts? Actually, it's thoughts. There's a difference between thought and thought. A thought is something you do with your mind. A thought is a slang word for a woman who's promiscuous. By the way, here's a linguistic difference between like New York and the Midwest. In New York, thought and thought don't rhyme. Same with caught and caught. Like caught spelled Caught. That's like you caught a cold. Caught, as in I caught a cold, is not the same. Is not pronounced the same as cot, as in a thing you sleep on. That's the more old way of pronouncing words. But in the Midwest and in many parts of America now, especially in Gen Z, they have received the caught merger, and they say the same things. Like my wife saw, like, I caught a cold, like, bruh. And they say coffee, or I'm exaggerating, but they say coffee and dog instead of coffee and dog. Like, seriously. Anyway, Sean, how do I do Eucharist if I'm a germaphobe? That's a place where I suspend my germophobia if necessary. Luckily, what my church does is individual bread and individual cups, which I think is the best way to do it. Philosophically inspired. Will we ever get KingdomCraft music again? Did you guys like the KingdomCraft music? I wrote it myself, but some people said it was kind of just loud and annoying. So I'm not sure if I'll ever bring it back, especially now that it's live, and I'm not sure how to add music to live streams. I'm sure there is a way to do that, but I don't know how. There's no theological reason you got to do the common cup. So yeah, just do a. I don't fake my accent. It's like sometimes I'll like slightly exaggerate it, but it really depends on like how I'm feeling, honestly. Like when I'm having a normal, calm conversation, I don't have much of an accent. But when I'm feeling like a bit like exasperated or just trying to be sarcastic, that's when my accent naturally comes out and I'm not trying to force it. Okay. You like the music, just make it quieter. Yeah, the music was way too loud in my early videos. Okay, almost died there. All right, next super chat. Thank you for the super chat, Ethan H. You're interested in Calvinism. Do I think I'd be more equipped in debating Dyer today? More than I used to be, because when I debated Jay Dyer, that was like 2 years ago when I had not read any church fathers except like one book by Athanasius. So I'm more equipped now than I was then. But Jay Dyer still had like, he's been debating since longer than I've been alive, and he has gone to seminary, unlike me. So I might be willing to debate him again or someone like him after I've gone to seminary. Now, obviously, Jay Dyer is a very smart guy. Some people made their decision to convert to Orthodoxy based solely on my debate with him. I mean, that's kind of dumb. It's like, that's like if you converted to non-denominationalism based on a debate between Cleave to Antiquity and a random Catholic catechumen. Okay, here's a nice Catholic church in here. Ah, creeper. Okay. Whoops. So yeah, if you want some resources on Calvinism, I'd Ethan H. I'm gonna put his channel in the description. His name is Canon and Creed. He's a Presbyterian. Canon and Creed. He's a Presbyterian who just started an apologetics channel. This did not exist until recently. He just started an apologetics channel. But here you go. Ethan H. Did you see that? Did you get that, Ethan H? I want to see if you got that. Ethan H., did you get that link? All right, awesome. Chicken Joe, were Adam's parents monkeys? No, that's a silly question because nobody claims we evolved from monkeys. Not a single person in the world claims we evolved from monkeys. That's a complete straw man of Darwinism. Now, Adam's parents were presumably structurally almost identical to humans, but lacking the rational soul. Kind of like Neanderthals or something. Not Neanderthals, but similar enough. Similar concept. Well, who cares if Darwin was agnostic? Calvin says you're supposed to trust the findings of secular science. Like, you don't get your theology from Darwin, but look, science. If you want to refute a scientific thing, you do it with better science, not with saying, "Oh, well, that goes against my interpretation of the Bible." Charles Hodge, who is the founder of fundamentalism, says we should be willing to change our interpretation of the Bible if it contradicts science. Okay. What Asian national anthems do I know how to play? Honestly, most of them. Not all of them, but most of them. I didn't say they don't have a soul. I think they don't have rational souls. So, like Aristotle says, there's 3 types of souls. There's the nutritive, which all living things have, including plants and bacteria. And there's the appetitive, which animals have, and humans. And then there's the rational soul, which only humans have. So animals have souls. They're conscious. They are sentient. They just don't have a rational soul. According to Aristotle, at least. And I think he's probably right about that. Am I a big nerd? Yeah. Okay, did I miss any super chats here? I don't think I did. Can I say happy birthday, Joe? Okay, I'm not sure who Joe is. Who is Joe, by the way? Who's Joe? Wouldn't it be odd for there to be irrational humans in heaven? Well, basically, gorillas and chimpanzees, structurally, they're already like 98% the same as humans. Chimps have 98% of the same DNA as us. The reason they're not human is because they're not rational creatures. And also, if you're talking about, irrational humans, I mean, there will be some leftists in heaven, maybe, so I'm kidding. Fiery Hornet, nice name. Do I ever think there will be a mega church that gets so many offshoot churches it practically becomes its own denomination? That already has happened. Like, apparently Life Church is like a brand, and like corporations have replaced denominations because of non-denominationalism, which is why non-denominationalism is bad. So that already, it's, I don't think that will happen. I know that has happened, to answer your question. Redeem Zoomer Third Wheel, one of my wife and I's best friends who set us up, she's going Catholic, and she's going from PCA to Catholic, which is, I don't agree, but somewhat understandable, to be honest, especially given what her PCA was like. And some of her family's at Life Church, and the pastor's sermon was all about himself and how basically God told him to leave the Methodist church and start his own new church. Like, that is why I will be charitable towards Catholics, Orthodox, Baptists, even non-denominationalism. I go scorched earth on. I don't feel bad about a single thing I've said about non-denominationalism. For me, my approach to non-denominationalism is utterly scorched earth, Cobra Kai level, strike first, strike hard, no mercy. Non-denominationalism, there's absolutely no excuses for it. And there's not a single good thing about non-denominationalism that does not exist in denominations. Okay, thoughts on you will know them by their fruits. I mean, Jesus said that, so we should probably agree with it. Like, I don't know about you. I think we should agree with Jesus. I know Dennis Prager doesn't think so, but I think we should agree with Jesus. Did Eve actually come from Adam's rib, or is that symbolic for something? I don't know. I think Inspiring Philosophy has a good video on how linguistically the word for rib can also mean like side, which can mean like drawn from the humans around Adam. I'm actually open to different interpretations on how Eve was formed. But yeah. Follow up. If you agree with 1689 London Baptist Confession of Faith, but you're struggling with Calvinism, where should you go? Well, if you want to be a 1689 Baptist, go to a 1689 Baptist church. If you want to be Calvinist, go to a Calvinist church. Gotta choose between them. Yeah, in Oklahoma, Ella Sophia, Oklahoma is where she was when she went to that Life Church. And her relative who was going there informed her that she was joining a pagan satanic cult that does child sacrifice by joining the Catholic Church. I'm not a Catholic or anything, but that is a wild accusation. Can I fix the lag on my stream? No, because I'm stupid. Yeah, the thing about the difference between Presbyterians and like 1689 Baptists is Presbyterians exist in real life. Like, you'll find a lot of people who identify personally, individually as 1689 Baptists, right? It's very rare to find a church that, as a church, subscribes to the 1689 Baptist Confession. Even more rare to find a denomination that does. Average Lutheran, what music should Christians listen to? Literally any music you want, as long as it's not explicitly blasphemous. Like, if there's lyrics that, like, say a blasphemous thing, you shouldn't sing along. But other than that, listen to whatever you want. All things are clean. All things are clean for Christians. It is Pharisaical legalism to say you can't eat this, you can't listen to this music. Now, the reason you shouldn't listen to rap music is not because it's sinful. It's because it sucks and it's not real music. That's why you shouldn't listen to rap. It has nothing to do with like your spiritual life. It has to do with common sense. That's why you don't listen to rap music. Like I've said before, for rap, there's no melody. It's just like yeah, I've been banging all the hoes in the hood, and sometimes people try to make a Christian version of that. So it's like, yo, I've been listening to the VeggieTales in my youth group. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So rap is stupid. Don't listen to rap. I mean, you could. I can't stop you. It's not a sin to do it. But for the sake of your ears, like, I think the reason Beethoven went deaf is because he listened to rap music. That's why Beethoven's deaf, right? I did do a rap song in like 8th grade, but we don't need to talk about that. No Face Killa says, you heard one sermon mention Eve was made from Adam's rib to symbolize that she's a woman from his own heart and show they have the same type. Yeah, that's a very valid and plausible interpretation. Thanks for the super chat. Rap is poetry. Okay, when was the last time you read like a Robert Frost poem about like snorting cocaine in a hooker's den or something? You know? So no, rap is not poetry. Now, okay, the only like good rap I can think of is like 21 Pilots. Like sometimes in their songs they will have elements that could be classified as rap, but I don't know. Okay, thoughts on people saying we don't go to heaven, we're just asleep. Yeah, Chicken Joe, that is called soul sleep. I don't think that's biblical because Jesus says to the thief on the cross, today you will be with me in paradise. Today. So yeah, I don't believe in soul sleep. I don't see any biblical reason to believe in soul sleep. I don't believe in it. All right, where should I go now? I think I might go to Durlan again. Why not? The Dutch Reformed area. What did I say? Okay, would I rather be Catholic or evangelical Catholic? Next questions. I've already done a wife reveal, guys. Already done one. I don't think trad LARPers are the ones who like 21 Pilots. Generally, like, the 21 Pilots fandom is all lesbian or whatever. Like, I love 21 Pilots, okay? But most of their fandom is like lesbians with depression. Thoughts on Dante's Divine Comedy? I honestly haven't read it. I probably should. It's like the whole and even though 21 Pilots songs are good, I didn't love Clancy. Breach seems like it's gonna be better. I like Drum Show. I didn't realize it was about Josh until somebody told me that. But yeah. Okay, my computer's humming. The stream might crash out in a few seconds. If it does, stick around. I'll restart it. But yeah. Green Dolphin, what denomination should you join? All right, folks, I'm back. I predicted my computer would crash out, but you guys hear me? Are we back? Yes? Let me know if we're back. I got to know if we're back. Okay, yeah, we're back. We're back. Yeah, Thomas is bored. That's the problem with schismatics. They didn't even join the Global Methodist Church. Yeah, they just left. Some people say I'm too harsh about schismatics, but it has real consequences. So, come on. Anyway, so this is Casamina. It's part of Durlan, the Dutch Reformed area. All right, I think I missed the super chat. So, Pentecostal daughter or 3 self-patriotic son. Honestly, Pentecostal daughter, because if any son is honestly part of the 3 self-patriotic movement, he's either a LARPer or part of, or loyal to a foreign government. So this is Gisbertus Vucis Reformed Church. Very, very nice place. Bask in the beauty of Dutch Calvinism. Okay. I never answered your country music question. What is that? Did I miss Average Lutheran? Did I miss your a super chat from you? I can't see it. Did I? I don't want to miss stuff, but first live. Okay, Frogman, welcome. You're probably going to lose a lot of brain cells if you stick around on these lives, but okay, Average Lutheran, can you ask it again here? You don't need to give another super chat since you already gave one. But yeah, just let me know what you said so I can answer it. Yeah, Thomas is bored. Just go to that church then. I tried to like country music. When I first became like somewhat conservative, I was like LARPing as like a full-blown American conservative. So I tried to like country music. Okay, so in 8th grade, I tried to get myself to like rap music because I wanted to be cool and fit in with people. I tried to get myself to like rap music. It was impossible. Like I actually downloaded, I still have it. I actually downloaded Fetty Wap songs on my phone. So while I'd be running in the woods, while I'd be running in the forest, I'd hear like 1738, yeah, baby, squaw, and like apparently that's music. Apparently. So then I tried to well, in like 10th grade when I started to become a conservative, I'm like, hey, what's up, pillow? Yeah, when I tried to become conservative, and when I did become conservative, I tried to like LARP as a country music lover. I really tried to get myself to like country music. Oh, this place is nice. Is this like an ecumenical council room? This really does look like an ecumenical council room over here. I tried to get myself to like it, but I mean, I will say the themes of some country songs are better than the themes of some rap songs, but like musically, it's not that much more interesting. The best country song I ever heard, okay, the best country song and the best rap song I ever heard was both from Phineas and Ferb. The best country song is Dr. Doofenshmirtz's Yodel Odel Obey Me, and it's a country song that satirizes country song. He's like, I'm gonna enslave your mind with a predictable melody, an uncomplicated rhyme. And if I asked you to, you'd even change your name to Amy because you're gonna yodel odel odel obey me. Like, that's better than any real country music. And then the best rap song was also from Phineas and Ferb. It was like S to the I to the M to the P, SIMP, squirrels in my pants. And they didn't realize that they were spelling the word simp, which became a word. Are Sedevacantists just Orthodox? No, they are in the Latin Catholic tradition, but they're just schismatic. Sedevacantists are the PCA of Catholicism. Or rather, PCA is Presbyterian Sedevacantism. S to the I to the M to the B, SIMP, squirrels in my pants. Yeah, that's a good rap song. No, 1738 is kind of like a meme. It's like whenever I see that number anywhere, I'm like, hey! Okay, why is 6... Okay, are we back? We're back. All right, so now I'm back in my church, and now we're going to do some building. Let's get some real questions. And stop talking about 67. I don't care about that number. It's an overrated number. Overrated number, folks. So yeah, let's get some real questions in here. Thoughts on the RCCG? I've heard from people who have been in that it's pretty legalistic, and it's part of the holiness movement, which is schismatic from Methodism. Okay. I don't actually know the Philippine national anthem. What is Presbyterian Sedevacantism? I think the PCA, honestly, is Presbyterian Sedevacantism. Okay, Swinters. Yeah, I saw that. I do like Blake Shelton and the Jolene song. Those are pretty good. But generally speaking, country music is not the best. I'm stuck with Spectrum Wi-Fi for now, which is on the Spectrum. So, I'm sorry. Is Latin important in the church? No. That's like a Muslim coded opinion that Catholics have, that Latin is some special language. It's not even a biblical language. It's like, I don't think there are any magic languages, but if there was one, it'd be Greek or Hebrew, bro. Like Latin, yeah, Latin sounds cool. In fact, I think you should learn Latin in schools, but no, there's nothing like spiritually special about that language. Okay. Zombie, get out of here. Do I know Koine Greek? I know a bit. I took one semester of that in high school. I'm gonna, when I get my MDiv, I'm gonna have to like learn some actual ones. Okay. Yeah, Jesus did speak Aramaic. I mean, he probably did speak Hebrew as well. Because like Hebrew was always like the religious language of the Israelites, but until like the modern state of Israel, it wasn't spoken conversationally, I don't think. Thomas is bored. Go to that church then. No, I don't know Aramaic. Supposedly in Harry Potter, the spell Avada Kedavra is Aramaic for like I begin to destroy as I speak or something. Average Lutheran, thoughts on Voice of Reason. Okay, so pray for everyone affected by him and pray for his repentance. So I saw his video the other day where he says he's breaking his silence and explaining all that stuff. Now, here's what I'd say. Is his repentance genuine or performative? We can't know right now. I think what will determine that is if he tries to become an influencer once again or not. I think if he steps away from the public sphere, that'll be an act of humility. And by the way, even though there's forgiveness and grace for everyone, like what he did was not just having, relationships he shouldn't have. It's not just like that he was a normal fornicator. It's like actually abusive and, spiritual abuse. Like that is way, like some people are trying to minimize it, like saying, oh, it's just everyone slips up. No, this is not just like some guy who had a porn addiction, right? This is a lot worse than that. But there's forgiveness for everyone, but he should absolutely not try and become like an influencer once again. I texted him once before any of this came out. We planned to maybe do a video at some point. I'm glad we didn't. I don't want my name connected to that. But yeah. Okay. Taylor Marshall or Jay Dyer? Oh, Jay Dyer any day of the week. Jay Dyer actually at least kind of knows what he's talking about. Taylor Marshall called this Presbyterian guy on Twitter Nestorian for literally quoting the Chalcedonian Creed. I've almost finished reading Confessions by St. Augustine, yeah. I've read a lot of other things by St. Augustine, but Confessions I'm almost done with. I know Jay Dyer can seem mean at first. Like, at first I thought he was, but after you've engaged in, like, so many internet debates, your patience just kind of wears thin and you don't put up with, like, nonsense. So I think he's all right, honestly. His style's not for everyone, but the more I've been doing interactions online, the more I've understood Jay Dyer. Thoughts on all the new Christian influencers? I don't know. Some are good. Like, there's some great new Protestant ones like Canon and Creed and Cleave to Antiquity. Obviously, some of them I think are just, posting AI slop. Anyway, why is everyone asking about autism? What is an autism reveal? Like, how do you even do that? Like, even if you wanted to, how could you? Like, I'm actually curious what you have in mind. 67th autism reveal. Okay. Does anyone have an actual question? Anyway, okay. What's the best way to interpret Revelation? I would say a type of double fulfillment thing, more of an idealist interpretation. What I do not think is a historicist interpretation of Revelation, where you would try to assign all the figures in Revelation to various figures in the in real life, because no two generations agree on that. Do I like a messenger of truth? I've explained what I think of a messenger of truth. He has no idea what he's talking about because, according to his standards, Martin Luther is not a real Protestant. So I can't say I'm the biggest fan. And he's made like a ton of hit pieces on me. I didn't do anything to him. Okay. Why is PC a sedevacantist? Because they did exactly what the sedevacantists did to the Roman Catholic Church. The PCA split off from mainstream Presbyterianism voluntarily on the grounds of supposedly mainline Presbyterianism being apostate. Now, they're totally wrong in that opinion. Watch my debate with Matthew Everhart on why the PCA was wrong to split off. What they split off was not even really a liberal church, the way the ECO split off from the PCUSA after the whole gay marriage thing. The PCA split off mainly because they were worried about future liberalism. So the PCA is definitely a schismatic denomination. You should all be PCUSA if you want to be Presbyterian. Yeah, the PCUSA will absolutely allow PCA churches back. I just don't know how many PCA churches would ever want to come back. But if they do, yeah, PCUSA would allow that. Absolutely. Why wouldn't they? Okay. Thoughts on based King of Sweden, Gustavus? I don't know who that is. Who is Gustavus Adolphus? Who is that? Like, he's probably some historical figure I don't know much about, but who is that? Like, sorry, I don't know. I'm kind of dumb on some things, but I legitimately just don't know. Okay, Hercule Flambeau. If I was transported to the 10th Central Europe, would I try to start a Presby church? No, I would try to do what I could in the Catholic Church. And if I started expressing my opinions, such as iconoclasm, I might be kicked out, like Martin Luther was. But I wouldn't immediately try to just start a new religious movement. Martin Luther didn't try to do that either until he was kicked out. And not just kicked out as in like fired, but like excommunicated and a price put on his head. And after the same thing had been done to like many others before him. Okay. Martin Luther was level 10 autistic. I'm not sure if Martin Luther was autistic. I think he had OCD. I think that was the big thing. In fact, the whole Lutheran tradition is based on OCD. I think it's the Reformed tradition that's based on autism. The Anglican tradition is based on bipolar disorder. The Baptist tradition is based on illiteracy. Eastern Orthodoxy is based on schizophrenia. Roman Catholicism is based on narcissism. And Methodism is based on being neurotypical. I told you Reformed. PCUSA versus RPCNA. So if RPCNA was as big as PCUSA, it would be like much better. The only bad thing about RPCNA is it's tiny. But RPCNA, they're not technically schismatic because they're the remnants of the persecuted Scottish Covenanters. So the RPCNA is very based. It's not like the other NAPARC churches. RPCNA is definitely the best NAPARC member church. Maybe them and the RCUS. The RCUS, the historic German Reformed Church, is also really cool. Yeah, I already do have merch. I just don't advertise it that much because I don't really care. But I do have merch, and I might even make a ceiling fan plushie. Mrs. Zoomer, want to come tell them about the ceiling fan plushie? Okay, you want to come here at all? Okay. Mrs. Zoomer doesn't want to show up today. She did show up last time, though. All right. What's the best way to argue baptism saves to an OPC member? Yes, this is the problem with NAPARC and OPC more broadly. They claim to be confessional. They don't even believe the Reformed view of the sacraments, generally speaking. Some of them do. Like I know Canon and Creed is PCA and he believes it, but he's in the minority. I would say show him the Scots Confession. And show him Samuel Rutherford. You know, Samuel Rutherford was the chief Scottish author of the Westminster Confession. Samuel Rutherford says in his examination of Arminianism that, what are his exact words? Samuel Rutherford says, baptism is a means of regeneration, and it is said to save us. And its internal effect is the washing away of our sins. You can't get more explicit than that. Thoughts on wearing t-shirts with Bible verses? Why not? Why shouldn't you? Okay, someone give me the 39 articles. What is this Anglican stuff? I should install Linux. I'm too much of a boomer to know how to do that. That's the problem. Okay, you know what? Maybe I'll see if there's some new section to my church I can add. How do you guys think this, the sort of fellowship hall area that I've been building is coming along? Like, this church was built in 2022, but I keep adding, like, new sections to it. It's peak? Okay, glad to hear that it's peak. It's peak. Okay, so this is what my church looks like from up here, and that's what that area looks like. Let me see if I can get on the roof. Can I? No, I designed too well. That's my seminary, by the way. That's my seminary. Peter Mortar Vermigli Seminary. I think I'm going to try to go to the seminary now. Okay, how do I... I said there's like a mini chapel here above the main chapel, and there's chickens. Hey, get off here. I'm going to push you off. I'm trying to push this chicken off. Ah, no, I went to push the chicken off, not... Okay. Well, I lost a fight to a chicken. I literally lost a fight to a chicken in Minecraft. This is my wife's first Minecraft house. Are you guys proud of her? She just started playing Minecraft like a few days ago. Anyway. Any more questions? I can hang out for a little bit more. That wasn't even a chicken jockey. That was just a straight up chicken. Any other questions? Best Harry Potter character. That's a good one. I like Harry Potter. What do I think about the Hungarian Reformed Church having an Episcopal government? Well, they do, but it's very clearly like a superintendent type of Episcopal government where they don't believe that bishops are divinely mandated. They just think it's practical. So I don't agree with it. But at the same time, it's not the same type of episcopacy that like Roman Catholics might insist on. Okay. Would I rather be Donatist or Nestorian? It's a tough one. John MacArthur was both. I don't know, because they're both heresies. I think Donatism is like slightly milder, maybe. But even so. Oh, yeah, the RPCGA isn't a massive, massive LARP. Okay, this is the University of Beatonai here. All right. We're at the time in the video where, I mean, this is kind of what this whole video is about. Ask me your opinion on anyone. Oh, okay, the average Lutheran. You're 22, me too. Turn from paganism. Were you seriously ever a pagan? Like, did you actually, like, go to a temple of Zeus or Apollo or something, or were you just kind of like a LARPer? Like, I highly doubt you actually were pagan in any serious, meaningful sense. But I'm glad you followed the most common pagan tradition, which is converting to Christianity. Convert to Lutheran faith after watching my videos. Okay, I'm glad that my videos helped you abandon paganism. Thank you. Thank you for the super chat and stuff. And, well, thanks for telling me. I'm glad to hear that my videos help some people become Christian. Reform Renegade, I really don't think you've checked out every PCUSA church near you. Like, I also thought that there were no solid PCUSA churches near me until I actually checked them out. RPCNA or OPC, that's easy. RPCNA. ACNA is one of the most LARPy denominations. CREC is more LARPy than ACNA. Okay, returning to Christianity if they're a long way away. Just check out the main lines, and if you find a good one, just go to that. PCA or poop. You have no conservative churches near me. You live in LA. Okay, this is why I don't believe people when they say there's no conservative churches near them. There are tons of great conservative churches in LA. Testimonio de la Fe, go to First Presbyterian Church Hollywood. It is an awesome, historic, conservative PCUSA church. I want to know that you heard me. Will you go to First Presbyterian Church Hollywood, or at least check it out? Basically, everyone who says there are no conservative churches near me has no idea what they're talking about, because there almost always are. Like, when someone says there's no conservative churches near me, what they mean is there's none that I know about. Okay, great. Is universalism heretical? So Augustine didn't think it was. Augustine didn't think it was heretical. Even though Augustine believed strongly in hellfire. Augustine believed like the vast majority of babies burn in hell forever, but Augustine still didn't believe universalism itself was heretical. So, yeah, I don't think universalism is heretical either. I think it's very heterodox because the church is basically universally, no pun intended, decided universalism is not biblical. But no, I don't think universalism is actually a heresy, as in universalists can't be saved, because there are universalist church fathers. Gregory of Nyssa, Saint Gregory of Nyssa, is recognized as a saint in basically every tradition. He was a universalist. So if you're saying universalism is a heresy, you'd have to say Gregory of Nyssa is not a real Christian, or he's a heretic, which I don't think anyone wants to say. Also, how do you fix the Church of England's liberalism? Simply get involved, don't leave, and encourage your friends not to leave as well. And no, Calvinists would not think you're a heretic for having, images and icons, because Lutherans have always done that. They haven't venerated the images and icons, but they've had them. And Calvinists have never considered Lutherans heretical. By the way, this is a nice Presbyterian shirt in this server. I think this one's nice. Okay, what happens to unbaptized babies who die? Now, the updated PCUSA, the updated Northern PCUSA, rather, Westminster Confession says all babies are saved. I like to just default to that belief because it's in our confession. Now, it's not that they're innocent or that they deserve to be saved, but that just God spontaneously regenerates and elects them. Okay. Okay, next question. Greg, thanks for the super chat. Or Paul says to obey epistle and oral teachings. How do you reconcile that as a Protestant friend? Yeah, so Paul does say, obey whatever I've taught you, either by word of mouth or epistle. But then Irenaeus later says that we have learned the plan of our salvation from the apostles, who at one time proclaimed in public, and then what they proclaimed in public was written down. So while the apostles are alive, obviously you have to obey what they told you in person. That's obvious. Like, do you think Paul would go to Ephesus and tell them something, and they'll be like, actually, we're not going to obey you until you write a Bible book about it? Like, no, of course they're going to listen to his voice. But what do you do when the apostles die? Do you just rely on an endless game of telephone? No, you write it down. So after the apostles died, what they taught was written down, and that's how you have the New Testament. I think Calvinism is the only route to universalism. I think Calvinism is compatible with universalism, because Jürgen Moltmann is a reformed universalist, if you can even call him reformed. But I'm not a universalist. I agree. You can't be an Arminian universalist. Religion reveal Christianity. Next question. It was the paganism, animism. Had to learn to turn away from your cultural tradition. What was your cultural tradition? I'm actually curious. Like, were you actually from a culture that practices animism, or were you some like Midwestern dude in Missouri LARPing as a pagan? That's what I'm wondering. Okay, must admit, I would rather be PCA than a Roman Catholic femboy, but why are you asking this? Okay. Are worship bands an invalid form of worship? They're not invalid, but they're improper. They're valid as in it is worship, but it's not proper worship. By the way, this is the whole Bible. This is Genesis 1 to 8 in the ESV. And this is Revelation 20 to 22. And all this is the whole Bible in Minecraft. This church I'm in right now is Reformation Presbyterian Church. Yes, Thomas is bored. You got to become Methodist. This is Reformation Presbyterian Church. And over here, I have a copy of the whole Bible in Minecraft. Let me see how many books there is. So there's 6 books per bookcase. 6 times 4 is 24. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 24 times 8 is 192. And 192 plus 12 is 204. Okay, there's 205 books. 205. Okay, next question. Stop asking for reveals of things, unless it's in a super chat, but no need for that. Whole Bible, but no Catholic Apocrypha. Well, that's because that's not in the Bible, right? I'm sorry, Tobit, which encourages like witchcraft or whatever, that's not in the Bible. Maccabees literally says there was no prophet in the land during that time. The Old Testament comes from the prophets, and Maccabees says there was no prophets then. The best evidence against Maccabees being canon is Maccabees. Why am I not hyper-Calvinist? Because it's heresy. It denies that God loves everyone. Maccabees? How about Maccabees nuts? Gotti. Sorry. I get progressively less mature as these streams go on. Book of Baruch. Yeah, Baruch is the best of the Deuterocanons. Okay, progressive Zoomer, yes. Do I own slaves? No. Okay, have I ever attended Evensong? No. Now, my mentor is a bit of an Anglo simp. My old mentor from my old church. So he attends it. But, yeah. What if God came from heaven and they only said Jesus was a false prophet? No, I would. If anyone speaks against Christ, you know that is not a true revelation of God. No, I'm not going to sing you a song. You're Hmong. Oh, okay then. Then you're not a LARPer. Sorry. That makes a lot more sense now. Thank you. It's really cool that you've embraced Lutheranism. God bless. No, I'm not going to sing Submit to Authority. Even though it is a banger song. LCMS is pretty good. However, Reformed Renegade, I highly doubt that there's no good churches near you. Am I familiar with Amot's theology? Yeah, he's an annihilationist and thinks slavery is okay. All Christians turn PCUSA or have dinner with Jesus. Well, I already do have dinner with Jesus every time I take communion. So I would say all Christians turn PCUSA because I already did the other thing. I would chat with James White. I'd rather debate him on whether Reformed Baptists are really Reformed, because they're not. No, I'm not singing Gregorian chant. I don't think I was ever more charitable about it, the CREC. Like, I'm pretty scorched earth in my video about the CREC. I've always said Doug Wilson says some, like, clever things, but there's no excuse for his denomination. Yeah, Wesley was based. He helped abolish slavery. Yes, there are actually many scholarship. Oh, there's a bunny. Many scholarship opportunities through the PCUSA. Yeah, the bunny walked into this hotel. Okay, over there is Karl Barth Presbyterian Church. I'm going to go there real quick. Yes, I did a prayer for Trent Horn's wife, but yes, continue to pray for Trent Horn's wife. I did a prayer for that at the beginning of this. You can ask questions, but I can't answer all of them because I get a lot of them. So that's why I prioritize the super chats. Oriental or Eastern Orthodox, if I had to choose. I think Oriental Orthodox is fewer creations. It'd be a tough choice, but yeah, I'd choose Oriental Orthodox. This is Karl Barth Presbyterian Church. Which Korean Presbyterian denomination is the best? Honestly, the Korean section of the PCUSA. Thoughts on the root of everything? The root of everything is God, obviously. Yeah, we say debts and debtors. Your spiritual but not religious friend converted to Christianity. That's very based. Absolutely based. All right, I'm not exactly sure what I should do in Minecraft right now. So, wondering, where should I go in Minecraft? Oh, by the way, Fiat, it's called Arrowhead, actually, not Clayton. Clayton is Claytonia. But I do like pizza, but I like the New York pizza. Best argument against Miaphysitism. Chalcedonianism makes more sense and it's simpler. How does ARP compare to PCUSA? Well, ARP was founded on marrow theology, so I'm not the biggest fan, but it's better than most of the NAPARCs. Oh, you meant the YouTube channel. I have no idea what that is. I fell into a ravine. Now I'm not trying to get out. Where should I go, guys? Where should I explore? Okay, yeah, why not go to Underhill? Yeah, so this is the Presbyterian development area. And, okay, looks like there's a big cruise ship over there. Isn't that, like, modeled off of, like, one of the Prosperity Televangelists cruise ships? I'm going to go look at that. Because that ship seems to move around a lot. I'm going to go check that out. Message Presbyvile. Mystical Presence by John Williamson Nevin. Wait, what? Oh, yeah. Lord Vile. Mystical Presence by John Williamson Nevin. Okay. Did I get any new chats? Oh, you meant the YouTube channel? Okay. Yeah, pineapple on pizza is heretical. In New York, there's actually a law, like I said. In New York, there's a law that if anyone puts pineapple on pizza, he gets deported to Delaware. That's a real thing. I'm going to check out this yacht over here. Okay, whoever's floating shouldn't be floating. How do I get here? Okay, how do we think about Mary? Yeah, so the Reformers had a very high view of Mary. I think we should too, because she is the mother of God. She is God's mother. Not the mother of the divine essence, of course, but Jesus is God. So she is the mother of God. Basically everyone, Catholic and Protestant until recently, believed in the perpetual virginity of Mary as well. So they believe in the perpetual virginity of Mary. So I personally believe in the perpetual virginity of Mary myself, because okay, how do I get in here? I believe in the perpetual virginity of Mary because, honestly, you can make a biblical case for it. It's in the Confessions, in the Second Helvetic Confession, but you also can make a biblical case because, like, look, the during the Annunciation, when the angel says Mary she's going to be pregnant in the future, she says, "How is this possible, given that I am a virgin?" Not that I, will be a virgin, which is that I am a virgin. So I think that indicates Mary had some type of commitment to always being a virgin. So that's why I think the perpetual virginity of Mary can be argued for in Scripture. Okay, rank televangelists by how heretical they are. I'd say the most heretical is people like Kenneth Copeland. Like, you might not believe in demon possession, but once you see his face, I don't see how you could not believe in that. Or at least demonic oppression. At least the presence of demons. Okay, looks like this yacht is where just all the admins of this server hang out. Now, next would be Joel Osteen, because Joel Osteen, he is less like charismatic and more of just like a motivational speaker. Still says heretical things. And then like Joyce Mayer would probably be like the least heretical televangelist, because even though she's even though she's cringe, nobody should listen to her. There are people who are okay, like some evangelical Church of England people, like the people who run the Alpha Ministry, who will quote her. So, but all the televangelists are like, bad. T.D. Jakes is also very heretical because he's like a modalist. Okay. Debunk Mormonism in 20 seconds. Okay, here's how I debunk Mormonism. God, being perfect, cannot change his mind, but in Mormonism, God changed his mind about black people. That's that all you need to know. Thoughts on people only preaching Jesus loves you. Well, Jesus loves you is not the gospel. All right? That's part of it. It's not the whole picture. So when people just preach that, they're not preaching the gospel. Stop spamming Wilhelmius cooks a better steak. Why is everything red? Why'd that happen? I'm not very actually skilled with all the more technological parts of Minecraft. Go to the Underhill Industrial District. All right, I'll do that. Yeah, this is Underhill. This is the Presbyterian part of the Minecraft server. And yeah, the what I disagree with that marrow theology. I disagree with the whole idea of a republication of the Covenant of Works in the Mosaic Covenant. Read James Haddow's critique. James Haddow has a book called The Antinomianism of the Marrow of Modern Divinity. Thoughts on Bryce Crawford? I'm not sure who that is, unfortunately. Okay. What's this? This is a nice place. I haven't seen this. Okay, this is the Nucleopetrian War Veterans Memorial. Yeah, the Nucleopetrian War was a war on this Discord server between the Nuclean Empire, which is the Lutheran Empire, and the Petrian Empire, which is the Catholic Empire, and the Lutheran Empire won. Okay, how do you go about studying theology? Well, first read the Bible. Don't study theology before you read the whole Bible. Okay? You want me to do a Zoomer gender reveal? Fine, I'll reveal my gender. My gender is Presbyterian. How do you win arguments against Catholics? Watch my debate with the catechumen. I think you always want to be educated on the other person's system. So Protestants tend to lose debates with Catholics when they're always on the defensive, and when the debate is always just an examination of Protestant theology. Really deeply learn a lot about Catholicism so that you can show the inconsistencies. That's what I did with the catechumen. You can watch my debate with the catechumen. Look up RZ versus the catechumen. He's a cool guy, friend of mine. But I think what I tried to do in that debate was expose the inconsistencies of Catholicism. Thoughts on Freemasonry? I don't understand it enough to have very formed thoughts, but it does seem kind of sus. Macau, you've recently been convicted of your own progressive Christianity. Your girlfriend is still a progressive liberal Christian. Tell her to repent of that, or it's Jover between the two of you. No simping. God before girls. And don't the scripture in 2 Corinthians says to not be unequally yoked. Okay. Thoughts on Union Theological Seminary? I mean, it's probably the most hijacked seminary of all. Did Apple mock the Eucharist? I haven't heard about that, but I wouldn't be surprised if they did. Why do so many Christians support Israel? I made a video about that. It's due to dispensationalism, which is really bad theology. But a lot of people, I mean, not all Christians who support Israel are dispensationalists, but usually it's because of dispensationalism, this really bad theology that thinks the Jewish people are still God's chosen people as opposed to just the church. How to win arguments against atheists? Honestly, I don't think that's even worth it. I don't think you can argue anyone into faith. Like, I don't think anyone's ever been argued into faith. How should we approach dating lukewarm girls? I assume you mean lukewarm Christians. Yeah, here's how you approach it. Don't. Like, don't. It is bad. Like, the Proverbs says, danger a cliff. Whoops. Proverbs says, it is better to live on the corner of a roof, which is funny because I'm on the corner of a roof right now. It is better to live on the corner of a roof than with a quarrelsome wife. If a girl is not a devout Christian, don't even bother. Same goes if you're a girl and you're looking for a guy. If he's not a devout Christian, don't even bother. Opinion on Liberty University. Well, it does come from the schismatic fundamentalist movement, which is really about retreating from mainstream academia, so I'm not a big fan. Are young Christians less Zionist than older ones? Absolutely. So one thing that Gen X and Boomer Democrats and Republicans have in common is supporting Israel. Unconditionally almost. And one thing that the Zoomer generation has in common, both left and right, is being a lot more skeptical of Israel. Of course, there's exceptions in it everywhere, but is Liberty officially affiliated with the SBC? If it is, that'll improve my opinion of it. Personally, I don't even have many political opinions these days. Not because I think politics is unimportant. It's just because I don't even know. And I don't want to speak about things I don't know about. Like, honestly, on any given political issue, except for, like, social issues like abortion. Like, abortion is murder. It needs to be completely banned. But on any given issue, like, I could hear one side and feel like I'm convinced, and then hear the complete other side and feel like I'm also convinced. Also, I need food. If anyone's here, I need food. Has anyone got food? I'm hungry. Also in real life, Mrs. Zoomer? Darling. Yo, Mrs. Zoomer. Is, do you have an ETA for dinner? Maybe about, like, 20 more minutes? Thank you. Okay. Oh, I didn't know Liberty was affiliated with the SBC. Well, that does improve my opinion of it. I didn't know that. Okay. Yeah, you can make a Brazilian version of my channel if you want. Okay. Best arguments against dispensationalism. Not needing a complex graph to interpret the Bible. Okay, lots of people are swarming me now. Guys, where should I go in Underhill? What should I show people from Underhill? My tower. I don't know which tower is yours. Is it this one? Okay. I think remnant churches should merge with the main line as long as they have mechanisms to prevent them from being corrupted. Okay. Now this radio tower. Southwestern Tredonia's premier radio station. Cool. This place is cool. Frequency modulator. Do not touch. I'm probably going to touch it anyway. What did that do? Did I just screw something up? Anyway. Thoughts on Petria. It's pretty cool. What are these villagers doing here? Oh, yeah, it's Wilhelmius Van Diaper in Minecraft. Let's go. Generator running at 90% capacity. Static front map weather effect. Current waveform chart. Yeah, Wilhelmius Van Diaper. All right. Any more questions? We got 20 more minutes, so get out your questions. This has been quite a fun stream, but get out your questions now. Okay, stop. You want to be banned? Stop. I'm not afraid to ban people who disturb the live streams. Is every denomination going to heaven? All the, Nicene Christian ones, yeah. But going to heaven is not the only thing that matters. Has my wife studied anything at university? Yeah, she was a violin. She has a violin performance degree. She's got a Bachelor of Music in Violin Performance. Governor's house, do not enter. Guess what? I'm Redeem Zoomer. I can do what I want. I don't think God said cheeseburger in the Bible. I'm sorry. Sorry to disappoint you. These are some nice wolves. Some war dogs. Okay, whose house should I go into now? Yeah, Rock and Sand doesn't tell me anything didn't tell me anything I didn't already know. It's like Josiah Trenum's like, did you know that the reformers believed baptism saves? And I'm like, yes, I've been telling that people for years. So I don't think it says anything all that, groundbreaking. So yeah. I would recommend, if you want some good Protestant resources, especially regarding Orthodoxy, Start and Park Productions. I'd recommend Cleave to Antiquities stuff. But, if you're having thoughts about that stuff, let me just send you a playlist of Protestant apologetics. I mean, the choice is ultimately yours, but if you're listening to like an Orthodox apologetics book, you should probably listen to the other side as well. So here you go. This is my Protestant apologetics playlist. Do what you want with it. I'm not going to say a bunch of numbers for you guys. I'm sorry. Okay, what is this building? What building am I in right now? What is this place? It's got like Halloween colors. Sorry, full festival colors. Why is my head here? Okay, I'll visit you guys at the metro or whatever. All right, next questions. We still got 20 minutes left approximately. What's this? Paper? I don't need paper. Any other questions? Thoughts on Trent Horn? Trent Horn's a good friend of mine, and I'm gonna be collaborating with Trent Horn to review some of his scripts when he makes videos on Protestantism. So yeah, Trent Horn's cool. And I think it's very cool of him to have a Protestant reviewing his scripts on Protestantism. I do listen to Gregorian chant sometimes. It's not my favorite, but it's okay. So yeah, Trent Horn is pretty honest and charitable. Very much, actually. Well, Joel Osteen and Kenneth Copeland go to hell. Well, I can't pronounce that on anyone, but especially Kenneth Copeland doesn't look good. Thoughts on Anglican chant? I think it's kind of cringe how Anglican plain song chant replaced the traditional hymns. Like, hymns are not high church. Hymns are low church. CCM rock music, that's not low church. That's no church. That's church that's meant to not look like church. Thoughts on, are there Methodist chants? I haven't heard about that one. This is Levi's church. Okay. That's a pretty nice place. Nice Presbyterian church over here in Underhill. Okay, I'll visit you guys at the square. I'll follow you guys to the metro so I can see the metro. All right, next question. You guys got any questions? Do I like jazz? I've never been the biggest fan personally. Trent Horn's trying to make me Catholic. I mean, he can keep trying. A lot of people have tried that. Doesn't work. It probably would have worked if Catholicism was true, but it ain't, so that's a problem. But I still like Trent Horn, so I'll be happy to work with him on that. No, I don't have a Pachimama idol. Sorry about that. Okay, where's the square? Where's this metro you guys are telling me about? Guys, I don't need your cobblestone. I'm content mining it myself. I'm not planning to visit Russia anytime soon. Monosodium glutamate. What is that? Okay, where's the metro you were telling me about? Okay, does anyone have like a real question that's not just like thoughts on women or something? What is my prayer schedule? It should be better, but I do pray every night before bed and whenever I feel like it. Okay. Well, yes, I will try to add Methodist churches in the Philippines. Thoughts on prayer books? There's the Presbyterian Book of Common Worship. It's kind of like a Book of Common Prayer, but better. No, I'm not going to watch videos that are made by AI. Okay, this is a nice shop. Hey, it's Steve's Lava Chicken. Lava. It's the chicken. Steve's Lava Chicken. Yeah, it's tasty as heck. Oh, American Baptists have a worship book? That's pretty cool. Let me have some lava chicken. What? I opened the chest to get food and it's my head there. Why is my head everywhere? Okay. You got it. Okay. I don't think I should do content on Christian spirituality if I'm not like a pastor yet. Maybe if I become a pastor, then I'll do that. Okay, why don't I have Blatthew? Let's see if you can think through this yourself. Why would I not have Global Methodist churches or PCA churches on the Reconquista map? I'm gonna let the chat explain to you why I don't have Global Methodist or PCA churches on the Reconquista map. And I want to hear you say that you understand why. Why don't I have Global Methodist churches or PCA churches on the map that is specifically dedicated to retaking mainline churches? Yeah, because they schismed. If there is a map that is dedicated to retaking certain denominations, why would I include churches that are not in those denominations? Yeah, sure, I'd be willing to talk to Jeff Durbin. I haven't listened to him much. I know he's part of like the whole Reformed Baptist crowd and stuff. But I want to know that you got that one. Okay, who was it that said Blatthew? I want to hear you, Blatthew. I want to hear you say that you understand, because I want to hear you say that you understand. Where are you at, Blatthew? Yes, because they schismed. You got it. New York versus Connecticut pizza. What even is Connecticut pizza? That's got to be like the boringest pizza in existence. What would Connecticut pizza even be? Is that like where you put homework on your pizza? I don't know. Book of Common Prayer helps you be closer to God? Sure, maybe. I haven't tried it, but I don't have that much of an interest. Maybe I'm wrong. Barnabas, what academic test has damaged historic Christianity most, in your opinion? Maybe some of the higher critical scholarship. The critical scholarship that says like, oh, Matthew didn't write Matthew, bro. Or like, Moses didn't write the Torah. It's actually like an amalgamation of 4 completely different sources, bro. Which I think is kind of silly, but That did do a lot of damage to Christianity. Okay, how do I improve my prayer life? Get a PCUSA Book of Common Worship. It's like the Book of Common Prayer, but it's better. No, I'm not praying the rosary. Oh, by the way, any Protestant who tries to have like a Protestant rosary is a LARPer. If you want the rosary, there's the door to Rome. There's the Tiber. Okay? The rosary is Catholic. They can have it. We have the Genevan Psalter. They can have the rosary. They can have it. It's not like a sin to use prayer beads or anything, but I feel like any Protestant who uses a rosary is just trying to LARP. If you're Catholic, it makes sense you use a rosary. I'm not dissing Catholics who do it. I'm dissing Protestants who do it. Is James White the best Reformed theologian? Oh, sure. Unblock Caleb Porter on what? Can you learn to type, maybe? Okay, why is everyone here? Most common heresy conservative Christians fall for. I would say Gnosticism or like Docetism, like denying the true importance of the physical and of God's kingdom. Honestly, Donatism as well. Donatism, the idea that if like a minister is corrupt or liberal, they're a fake minister and you have to like leave and not be involved with them whatsoever. So I'd say like Docetism, Donatism, and Gnosticism are very common conservative heresies. Nestorianism is a problem for like low, like Baptistic types, but not necessarily conservatives in general. Because you remember, conservative Catholics also exist. Conservative Anglicans exist. My server is only on Java, not Bedrock. If you only have Bedrock, then that's just too bad. Yes, Mary is the Theotokos. Yeah, I apparently in the Reconquista server, it's like anytime I check the general chat, it's like these people having these autistic political debates. Like, what's up with that? That's not what the Reconquista is supposed to be about. Let me check this. What even is going on in the Reconquista server? In fact, I might just like mute everyone who engages in pointless political bickering. Yeah, I'm getting rid of this guy. Okay, I banned Dayan Salazar for engaging in pointless bickering. The Earth is flat and space is fake. Cope. Okay, I hope you're joking, because if you're not, then we have a problem. Jordan Cooper has a Lutheran Rosary video? What's up with that? Oh, I hope you're kidding about that. Okay. Anyone who believes that the Earth is flat needs to have their internet license taken away. The problem with the internet is it lets stupid people spread their ideas. And people who believe the Earth is flat are stupid people. I'm sorry, but they are. That's not okay. That's not okay. Okay, can I explain in depth why God loves everyone? Because God created everyone, and it's impossible for God to not love something that he's created, because everything God has created is inherently good. Also, because all of humanity is created in the image of Christ, and the Father loves the Son, and all of humanity is in some way in the image of Christ. So there's that. Thoughts on Iron Inquisitor going to Catholic seminary? I'm proud of it. Okay, why am I trapped in this hole? I look away for a second at the comments and I'm trapped in here. How do I turn on PvP? How do I turn on PvP? Thoughts on the Christian Avengers? All of them had like terrible theology. Maybe Rustlin was like the best of them, but didn't one of them say the Eucharist is like dirt? Didn't one of them do that? Okay, I'm getting out of here. I'm going to warp somewhere random and not let people see where I'm going. Where should I go? I got to get out of here. Okay, here we go. Now people can't bother me. As an Anglo-Catholic, I've wrote, Anglo-Catholicism is one big LARP. So it makes sense you have a rosary as a Protestant, which is a LARP, because you're Anglo-Catholic, which is also one big LARP. I'll respect Anglo-Catholics if they're mainline, but like Anglo-Catholicism is not necessarily the thing I disagree with most. It's just the type of Christianity that annoys me most. It just feels the most like a LARP, if you know what I mean. Like, make up your mind. Be Protestant or Catholic. Like, don't pretend you're not Protestant if you are. I'm trying to put together Protestant Avengers with, like, Mission 2025, but I'm not going to call it that because that's kind of cringe. Athanasius and Augustine of Hippo fully greased and... What? Dude, you need to log off. You are actually sorry for trolling a year ago. Awkward fun. I greatly appreciate your apology, but I don't actually remember every single person who has trolled me, especially if it was a year ago, because let me tell you, it's a lot. A lot of people troll. So what did you do? I'm just curious. No need to give us another super chat. What did you do? I missed a super chat? What did I miss? Can we say the Eucharist is God? The substance of the Eucharist is God. The elements of the Eucharist are not God. The true spiritual substance of the Eucharist is God. But what did you do? Why did you get banned? Awkward fun. Or, I mean, what did you do when you were trolling? Why don't I have Catholic churches in the Reconquista? Number one, I'm Protestant, so those are the ones I care about. Number two, the Catholic Church doesn't need a Reconquista. Now, there was, like, my mom's Catholic. She did want me to make a Catholic sort of Reconquista thing. So there's this organization, Custodis Fide, that I helped start. It's Catholic. It's sort of like a Catholic version of the Reconquista. Yeah, thoughts on high church memes. He's Anglo-Catholic. Yeah, I'm friends with him. But I must say, his posts often make me cringe real hard. Just the same way I'm sure my posts make him cringe real hard because I have a more Puritan mindset. And yeah, like I try to strive to be a Puritan, and he doesn't like that. Like, he counter-signaled Thanksgiving. He said that the epic Schoolhouse Rock songs were Puritan propaganda on Thanksgiving. So I said, based Puritan propaganda, happy Puritan Day. Chicken Joe, we don't live in a dome. The rapture's not happening soon. I hope you're joking. I can't tell if you're joking or not. Okay, people have found out that I'm in Shopperville. I have to go somewhere else. Where should I go this time? I'm not necessarily going to ban Dion permanently, but he needs to understand that the server is not for random political bickering. So tell him if he stops using the server for political debates, then he can come back. But for now, he's not really helping. Where should I go exactly? I'm gonna go to Bethesda. This is an interesting place. Welcome to New Antioch. Well, it's an interesting place, isn't it? This is the Nestorian part of the server. I've never been here before. Yeah, this is the Nestorian part of the server. If the Apostle Paul and Peter had a cooking show, who's getting chopped first on Heaven's Kitchen? Catholic countries have better food than Protestant countries, so I think Peter would beat Paul in a cook-off. Because Peter's more Catholic and Paul's more Protestant. I think so, anyway. Like, I don't think either of them are... I think both of them are most consistent with Presbyterianism, but Peter's definitely more Catholic than Paul is, that's for sure. Minecraft disappears or converting to Eastern Orthodoxy. Yeah, of course I'd rather Minecraft disappears. Oh, yeah, well, I don't remember that. People troll me every single day, so I can't really remember everything. What's wrong with the papacy? Because there's only one head of the church, and that's Christ. Pope Gregory said that whoever claims to be the universal bishop is the forerunner of Antichrist. So there's that. I don't think the Pope is literally the Antichrist, but, you know, Pope Gregory did say that. No, you should not pray to Peter to figure out if you should be Catholic. You should pray to God. You know, while you're at it, why don't you pray to Saint Bigachungus of Kazakhstan to see if you should be true Orthodox? Oh, Peter said no? Okay, we're good. Yeah, well, if you're before the age of 18, you can't really do anything for Reconquista anyway, so it doesn't really matter if you attend a mainline church. You went to what's a YN store? Anyway, 2 minutes left in this live stream while I'm in the Nestorian land. Any final questions? If not, we'll close out. Were the apostles Presbyterian? Yeah, they appointed presbyters to lead the churches, and presbyter was identical to bishop for them. No, I do the sign of the cross. I don't consider that a LARP. Any final questions? Obviously, I like Tim Keller better than Gregory Palamas. Final questions? All right. One last question. What should my last question be? Okay. Can we hear you blow a raspberry into the mic? Okay. I'm about to blow a raspberry, guys. You guys want to hear me? Oh, wait. Pastor Billy Bob said we live in a dome. Okay. Well, he's infallible. You can't disagree with Pastor Billy Bob. Should I leave my SBC church if you are Reformed? No, you are not Reformed yet. But if you want to be, you have to leave the SBC. Because a Reformed Baptist is like a married bachelor or a square circle. You cannot be Reformed and be Baptist. Okay. So, you guys want to hear me blow a raspberry in the mic? Is that what you want to hear? Who wants to hear that? Apparently, someone paid me that. All right. I'm about to blow a raspberry into the mic. Chicken jockey.